It changed one of the buttons on me. Okay, it says it's doing something. Let's see. Come on, baby.
Oh,
I think it's working. I see a black screen.
thumbs right up.
Wait, hold on. There it is. There we are.
I need a remote. I need to zoom in.
Did it? I know, right? Because you got to like reach for your camera and it looks all awkward. You're like,
dude, it's super far away. I'm twice as far away as I normally am.
Hi guys, how you doing? I'm just really zoom this out.
Yeah, there you go.
Why are you so far away? Did you change the position of your camera or?
No, it's me. I gotta keep my leg up.
Oh no, what happened?
I tore that muscle, man. Tore that tendon like a month ago.
Did you tell me?
I had surgery.
I didn't even know.
Oh yeah, I mentioned it.
You said you were on the couch, right?
Yeah, I did one for a bit. It's getting better. They did a good job, and I'm following instructions. It just sucks. It's gonna be so much longer than I thought.
Echo. Sorry, I forgot to turn off the music stream while I was rocking out. I was like rocking out to some audio sprite when you like joined, and I had the channel open so you could hear it too, but then it was bringing through your audio twice.
Oh yeah,
I fixed it. Well, it just makes him sound like more prominent. It's like he's a baseball announcer or something.
Let's get ready to rumble up. Oh, just kidding. Almost a copyright. Just kidding.
Oh damn. Elvis Stooges kicking off $20 super chat. Woo! Oh wait, hold on. Where's that?
All I got.
Yeah, getting the $20 from Elvis Stooges gave us $20. Now we're gonna eat the $20. Hell yeah.
Ruby.
Oh.
Yes.
That's gonna be our new thing. We're just gonna randomly break into song on big super chats. That's what we do.
No, I got water right there. Okay. Oh yeah.
So tell me. Oh, hold on. He's got to talk with his domestic partner. They got to work it out. There we go. Okay, it's worked out. Sweet. He's not on the couch. Yes.
Oh, I mean, yes. Sometimes the couch is more comfortable anyway. She snores.
I know, right?
I mean, I snore worse. Don't even like. I'm not even trying to make a claim on that. But no, she was just checking on me, making sure. She's been wonderful taking care of me because I'm on Gimpy.
Did you have to have
I'm like only a quarter Gimpy. Yeah. So tore the thing, like the actual wound happened like late July, like the 26th or something.
Well, rejuvenate my memory here because I do remember you saying
softball.
Playing softball, you ripped that, man. You're older than I am.
Not even doing anything.
Damn.
Like that's the part that like it really upsets me is like I didn't slip, I didn't like trip. I was like 2 steps into the run from home to first after I hit the ball, like bat, and the like pushing off. I would say probably would have been my 3rd step. Push off with the left, and just it felt like the bat hit me. Bam. So like it didn't hurt real bad. Felt like the bat hit me in the back of the calf. Because like you hit it and you kind of toss it behind you a little bit. I thought it bounced or something. But it hurt real bad. Like as a few minutes go by, I'm like, it's really hurting bad. But I just figured, okay, maybe I just pulled a muscle or something. I'm an old man. Like I don't run, I don't sprint. Yeah. Like
I pulled a muscle. It can hurt really bad when you pull a muscle.
Oh man,
like it feels like something broke.
I have. Yeah, that's where my head was at. Like it wasn't extraordinary. It did not stand out to me as something like, oh fuck, I really hurt myself.
Yeah.
So a week goes by and I'm still, man, okay, like I've pulled like, okay, it's not getting better. So I do the video chat thing with the nurse, right? You do the like an office visit, but virtual, right?
I've done those a couple times.
And they're like, oh no, and I tell them, and at this point, like I'm a little concerned too because like I try to stand on my tippy toes. Like you can you stand on your tippy toe 1 foot or whatever, and it's fine. But I could not put it trying to put weight on or push off of those 2 toes, my big toe and the one next to it. It's like nothing's there. Like it's just like just gone.
Yeah, muscles just
telling them that can't. I'm like hobbling and so just put a compression sock on it or whatever. It's fine. You probably just pulled a muscle. Another week goes by. I'm like, no, this isn't getting any better. Do another video chat thing, and they like, well, let's get you to a sports med specialist. That took another like 2 weeks because that was the earliest appointment. See the sports med doc, and they're like, yeah, man, you fucked this up. This is bad. There's like a divot. Well, not anymore because they fixed it, but there was a divot. She's like feeling one calf, right? Yep. And then feeling the other one, and she's like, oh, here. She takes my hands and she's showing me. And she's like, you feel right there. See how your thumb kind of goes
Yeah,
into
one of
there.
these isn't like the other, right?
And you feel right there. It's not there, right? Like that divot's not supposed to be there. Ah, fuck. Okay. Surgery. Boom. What's funny? Took me forever to see the sports med doc, but they had me in for surgery like in 3 days and over a weekend. So technically, like one business day. Boom. I'm ready to go for surgery. But I would have had to go into like urgent care to see the right people at the time of injury. I should have gone straight to urgent care or something like that. And they would have fixed it. They would have had me in a boot right away, and it probably would have fixed itself just fine. But because I was hobbling around and like walking on it, like
it was
I was walking on it, like thinking I had a pulled muscle, so I was just kind of being tender and letting it stretch. So I fucked it up. I fucked up real bad. So they go in there and they do their science magic to put it all back together, but it's still like I think I'm gonna at best I'll be in an ankle brace by October. I think.
Fuck, really?
Yeah. I thought it'd be out of the boot completely come September, because that's when I start physical therapy. But that's like I'm like 50% at that point.
Yeah, I know people that like break bones and they're in casts less time than that.
Yeah, and it's because the tissues and the ligaments, if they're not kept really close together, and I guess it takes a long time for them to fix themselves. But if they're not kept close together, the space fills with scar tissue, and scar tissue is not flexible. Like it doesn't.
Oh no!
It's more like cartilage almost, right? Like it's got some flex to it, but it's hard, and they don't want that. That would completely ruin my mobility. I'd be like 40%. I wouldn't be able to hardly bend my ankle or anything.
So was there a bunch of that already? They had to cut out like by the time
no,
you got in?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
because I was really only fucking it up for about a month. Maybe 3 weeks, really, from injury.
Walking around on a tear, dude.
I mean, I was still being pretty gentle with it, because thinking like it's a torn or pulled muscle, still trying to be gentle with it. But yeah,
I think you downplayed it when you told me, because I thought you just I thought you just told me you hurt your leg.
I probably
on the
did,
couch
because it doesn't hurt. The whole time of this, it never really hurt. It hurt really, really bad the night it happened for about 10 minutes, like the most intense. Like sore muscle, almost a cramp feeling.
Like after you get a Charlie horse, was it like that in your calf?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, like this really, really hurts. And then it just kind of went away. And then after that, I was like, oh, it's just like a bruise, almost like a pulled muscle. And then even now, after the surgery, like my right foot hurts more because of having to compensate and hobble around and bounce on this.
That's the problem I have too. Yeah,
it fucking hurt, man. But I can. It's my mobility. Like I can't even on my own. I can't put my foot in what they call a neutral position, like your 90 degree.
Yep. Just standing upright.
I can't do that on my own yet. I feel it's so tight. Like my calf and Achilles tendon are really tight. Like I can't stretch it. It's really weird.
So what do you have to do physical therapy after this too, to like regain the mobility?
Yeah, like all through September is going to be physical therapy, stretching, and even right now they're recommending that I try my best to like flex my foot to that 90 degree mode.
Yep. Because you're like pointing your toe, right? So you're trying to bring it back flat.
Right.
Okay, because that muscle's trying to coil up and pull. It's tight. So you're having to stretch to get it to have a neutral position, not pointing its toe.
Right.
Oh, dude.
But they've purposefully kept it in that pointed toe mode because that keeps the muscle and tendons close together. And so that's on purpose until they can like knit themselves good. But if I take too long, then the muscle atrophies and stuff. Like, so I got to get it back into mode, like working, like back to where it was. And that's going to be a long time, like at least through the September. And then I should be like around 80% ish or so is what they're saying by October.
Dude, that sucks, man. Well, I hope that they're doing like what most doctors do, and they're like picking the worst case scenario.
I think so.
They'll be good to go like in a month or something. They're just covering their ass by going, "Oh, this probably gonna take 12 years to heal."
That's where I'm at, because like even now they're telling me, "Oh, hey, okay, you can put like wear the boot, and like as you're crutching around, like go ahead and like kind of 25% weight on the boot, like pretend like you're walking." And I'm like, I don't know, man. I've a couple of times here, and I'm being very gentle. I'm trying to take a mix of like because I feel the same, like they're being overly cautious. Yeah, I'm taking a little bit, like 50% of their over caution, and like 50% of my wanting to like push a little bit, because like if I sit like in a chair or like on the couch and I put my foot on the ground and I just kind of push till my heel hits the ground, I'm almost at that 90 degrees. And I feel like that's what they're kind of getting at with the 25%, because I'm not standing on it, but I am pushing it a little to stretch it. And that feels okay. It feels, it's tight, but it's stretching and it doesn't hurt or anything. So I'm kind of I'm halfway between that. Like, I don't want to fuck it up, because they're like, bro, if you at like the 2-month mark, they're like, okay, now we're really starting to put 50% weight on it. Like, we're really going to start stretching this out. The instructions are like, you need to be careful, as like super, super careful though,
right?
Because we're like at this point where it can rupture again really easy. Like if I
like
stumble,
it's just starting to grow together and like it's really weak right there.
If you stumble or it takes a sudden like jolt of weight, even if it's not a lot of it, but if it's like bam, like if I step funny and I got to catch myself on that foot or anything, it can pop and be right back to where we were fucking a month and a half ago. So sucks, yeah, that's where I'm like, man, really? Because like it seems pretty good. Like I can feel where the work and stuff in there, and I'm like, it feels pretty good. Like, but at the same time, I'm not trying to do jumping jacks on it,
Yeah, because dude, you're gonna know like the second you feel it, just let go again. You're just gonna be like, no, in slow motion, like it's not worth it.
Send tots and pairs. I see you guys in the chat there. Tots and pairs.
Tots and pairs.
Thank you.
Tots and pairs fix everything. Everybody knows that.
It's just, I'm so bummed. I'm just like, this is just
dude.
The first surgery I've ever had. First, like,
oh, serious?
Literally ever. I haven't had my tonsils out. Still got my appendix. All that stuff. I've no surgeries ever.
Rank amateur.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, actually, I've had, how many surgeries have I had? I think I've only had 2. I had my appendix out, and I had a deep vein thrombosis surgery. And the deep vein thrombosis was actually worse than the appendix. Like the appendix was nothing. I bet. The appendix, I was like in that night and out the next morning. Yeah, it was like ping, bang, boom. They put three little like dime-sized holes in my stomach that they didn't even need to like stitch. They just like Durabonded it together. And I think they put stitches in one of them that was on my belly button because there was some tension across there. But I literally 2 days after surgery, I was whitewater rafting because we had a trip booked before my appendix blew up. And I was like, I'm not missing this trip to Leavenworth. I paid good money for this. So I went there. Yeah. And I had to do something called, was it Riding Princess or whatever? Because I wasn't allowed to use the oars or anything after surgery. So I just sat in the middle of the boat while everybody else did all the work. And so everybody gave me shit the entire time or whatever. And I just lift my shirt and go, come on, guys. Come on. I had a big patch on my stomach to keep the water out of the wounds.
Yeah.
No, it was a walk in the park. Like I was actually pretty surprised because appendix operation used to be like really deadly.
Oh yeah.
Like dude, my grandma got her appendix out like in the 50s or 60s or whatever. She was in the hospital for like 6 months, septic, had a scar up her whole side.
They got to cut you open like a big 3-4 inch gash and like go in there and grab it. Nowadays, that was kind of like with this one. There's like two ways of going about it. The orthoscopic way, which is what they did to me, or like the old school way where we're gonna cut you from fucking knee to ankle and get all up in there and stuff like they open you up like a butterfly chicken breast, I guess. But yeah, man, I was stoked. He's like, this one's really like, it's pretty common the way that we're doing this, but I'm like one of maybe 100 people who actually bother to do it this way. It's like a special thing. You got to take extra training and stuff and blah blah blah. He's like, we do this on Richard Sherman back in the day. I was like, oh, that's hey, cool. Confidence.
Good enough for him, right?
Yeah, right. So man. I'm stoked.
Dude, that sucks, man. I'm sorry you got hurt so bad. That's
awkward. Worst, man. What sucks is like, it's not so bad as to where like, I'm like, oh, right? Yeah. Like if I had a broken leg or something, like that'd be a little different. I feel good enough that I want to be able to do stuff, but I'm still like 20% broken enough to where like everything's a fucking pain in the butt.
Yeah.
It sucks. That's the worst
like dangerous too, because if you feel okay, then you're gonna be like, oh man, I really want to do this. I think I can do this. It's gonna be just a little too early if you push.
Right. No, I'm still being real careful with the scoot. I got the knee scoot and crutches and stuff.
I've seen those.
So it just, that's the worst part, is just everything is like a little bit more awkward and annoying and difficult to do.
That sucks, man. Well, we're getting old. I've been broken for a long time now, so I'm a veteran at this. I understand being broken.
Yeah.
So and how like I still don't understand limitations though. Like I'll still if I wake up one day and I'm like, whoa, my back pain is like at 20% instead of 90%. Oh man, I'm gonna go mow the lawn and wash the car. And then like halfway into mowing the lawn, I'm like on the ground, like crawling back on my hands and knees. Please help me. Last time it was so embarrassing. The neighbors had to come over and actually like ask me if they needed to like call for help.
Damn.
I was like, no. I was in tears. I was literally on the ground rocking back and forth, like wailing. It hurts bad, dude. It is a bad pain when it happens. And so, you know, I just sat there. I'm like, no. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. And I just crawled into my house. Took me like 10 minutes. And then I just crashed on the living room floor and just waited until Miss Barnacules got back. But yeah, that can happen anytime to me, which sucks. That's why people are like, go for a walk. It's like, I've been stranded twice now going for a walk where my back just goes out like in the middle of like the neighborhood next to ours. And then I just basically got to like lay on the sidewalk. And I don't know about you, but like when people walk by and they see a human body laying on the sidewalk, they want to inquire about things. So
sure. Yeah. Hey man, you okay?
Like, hey, you okay, buddy? Yeah. Do we need to call somebody? Like, are you having an overdose? Not really, but they're like, hey, can we help you? And I'm like, no, I'm good. This happens all the time. I'm good. And then wait for like 20 minutes and then try to hobble myself back in like stretches of 100 feet. That after that happened like 2 or 3 times, I was like, well, I'm not walking around my neighborhood anymore. So I'll probably just charge up like the rad power bike or something like that and go around on it. Yeah,
a little bit at a time like that.
Because I like the one thing I like about the rad power bike over like some of the other like mid-drive e-bikes is they have more torque for like going up hills and stuff. But because it's got a hub motor in it, like a lot of them do. The hub motor is the most common kind of e-bike. If the chain falls off, it still goes. Because the motor's in the back thing. So it's nice. It doesn't leave you stranded. Like if you're like riding along and you're hurt or you wreck on the bike and it pops the chain off or whatever, you don't have to sit there and like bust out your tools and try to fix it while you're in pain. You can just get on it and hobble yourself home on motor.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's happened. That's actually happened. So that's like why now it's like, even though I have a better bike that's like 1500 watts and can even climb my 380-pound ass up a steep hill, I still like riding the rad because it's just like I don't get stranded. Like if I break the chain, I'm stranded like with the other one. So my gosh, man, it absolutely sucks. Let's see what's going on over here in chat. 33 also losing count my age apparently. Oh man, don't get old. That's my best advice to you is just don't ever get old. It's weird. It's like, like how old are you, Ox?
36.
Oh, you're just a whippersnapper, bro. Get on my level. 42. I could be your dad and where I came from. No kidding. I went to school with a girl who was 11 years old and pregnant, and I was like, it was the weirdest thing ever seeing this tiny itty bitty little girl. Like I look at my son, how big he is now, and I'm like, imagine that with like a big old belly. Like I was just like,
that's not cool.
She had to go to the alternative school because you know all the misfits. So all the misfits. I went to the alternative school because I was expelled from my 2 local school districts for fighting, and it wasn't my fault. People were jumping me, and I was just defending myself. That's how that. And I didn't even win a single fight, which is the most embarrassing part. I got expelled from the schools for fighting when I was the one that was like walking around bloody with all my clothes ripped up.
That's
it's so stupid, like dude. It's so stupid. So, anyways, it's a good thing it happened because I ended up going to the alternative school and meeting my wife. So it all worked out, man. It all works out, man. But that was a weird school because it's like, so half the school was like prisoners on school release. So like the jail bus would pull up and like let all the juveniles off, and they'd go to class and then pick them up at the end of the day. And that was weird. That was weird, dude. And then the other half were just people that either got held back in public school, so they just wanted to sideline it and go get their credits and get their GED. So they went to this school, and then you had people like me that were just expelled and had nowhere else to go. So it was quite the motley crew of people at this school. And the teachers, oh my god, the teachers, like I swear they had to be like trained in judo to work there. No, I had a kid come. This is a true story. I had a kid try to come to school and shoot me. And luckily, I was smart enough to take his threat seriously so that they called the cops. And the cops were literally waiting for this kid. And they grabbed him in the alley with a loaded gun. So what happened was we were in PE. And PE is like a once a week thing at this school. It's not an everyday thing. It's like it's considered like a reward. If everybody does good, we can go play like dodgeball or badminton or whatever in the gym. So so we're in PE and we're playing basketball, and I accidentally, totally not on purpose, check this kid. I'm like, I smash into him, knock him over. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm sorry. And he gets up and he like shoves me back and he goes, I'm gonna go home and get my gun and I'm gonna kill you, you fat ass. And I was like, okay, like because people talk shit all the time, right? Everybody talks the game there, and I didn't realize he was one of the kids that was on juvie release, but he just left. Like after he chewed me out, he went out the emergency exit and just took off, and I was like, "Ooh, that's probably not good." So I went and told the principal, and he's like, oh shit. He's like, you need to stay in here. He's like, don't leave my office. You stay in here. And he goes and calls the cops. And he's like, yeah, so-and-so is off the school grounds, which is a big no bueno. That's like an instant violation if you're in school release. Like, you don't get to go to school anymore. And so they called the cops. The cops showed up, and they literally like parked a little ways away, and they surrounded the school, and the kid started coming down an alleyway. He was running down an alleyway, and the cops actually like drew down on him and put him on the ground and handcuffed him. And I'm looking out the window. I'm in the principal's office, looking out the window, watching him just like tag and bag this kid. And I see him pull a gun off him, and I was like, he was totally gonna come to school and like gun me down in the gym.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because apparently his brother lived like 2 blocks away. I didn't know that. So he just ran and got his gun, came back to school with like his brother's gun. And so they tagged him. And then the police officers came and talked to me to get a statement afterwards. And I was like, they're like, yes, he had a gun on him. And yes, it was loaded. And we never saw him again. After that, he never came back to school. We never saw him again. I'm sure they had him on like full lockdown. Probably even brought him up on charges, but they never called me. I never had to testify. So I don't know if that was because I was a minor or maybe they didn't. But I was like, holy crap. And even my teacher, he's like, dude, he even told the class the next day, he's like, if you guys see anything or anybody tries to say anything, like, go tell the principal. Oh, Pops, he said Barnacules likes to make shit up. Call Choice. There's a school called Choice in Shelton, Washington. Just ask them about Jerry Berg. Ask them about the incident. They'll tell you. like that's, I mean, people like to act like I'm talking shit. It's like, no, this shit did happen. I grew up in kind of a rough area, you know?
Right.
It's like, even me, I was shocked even about that one, though.
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember crazy stuff at my school. It's nuts. It's just weird.
That was the only real bad thing that happened. I was there for 2 years, and that was probably like the worst thing that happened was like that kid. Because I'm like, was he gonna come and just like start shooting me in front of all my classmates in the gym? Right. Like I'm like, because if he was just gonna threaten me, why would he have a loaded gun? That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Insane.
So but I just couldn't believe it. It was just because I basically like just bumped into him and he barely fell on the floor. It wasn't like I hit him as hard as I could and send him flying across the room. It's just I leaned into him and he lost his balance and he freaked the shit out. So it's this is like truth is stranger than fiction, man. I have some other funny stories about that school though. Is so Choice, we went there. There was a motivational speaker that came in. They called, actually this is after I wasn't going there anymore. They called me when I worked at Microsoft. I get a call from my old school. My alma mater calls me up, this choice school, and they're like, hey, do you want to come in and talk to the kids? Because when I was there, they'd have motivational people come in and say, oh, I went to alternative school, or I got my GED, and look, now I'm a rocket scientist. So they would bring people into school to motivate the kids, right? So I used to give tours at Microsoft after this to the kids. Like they'd bring the best kids. They had to have good grades. They had to be not troublemakers, and they would come in a group, and I'd give them a tour of the Redmond campus. And it was really cool, and they loved it. And apparently, it inspired a lot of them to do great things. So but before that, they're like, "Hey, why don't you come to school and be a motivational speaker?" And I'm like, "Oh man, that sounds kind of cool." But the best part about it was I dropped out of that school and went and got my GED, so I never even completed the program. So I'm like going in there as a motivational speaker as to why you should stay in school. But it's like I left, dude. Yeah, do what I did. Like leave school and go work for Microsoft. It wasn't quite that easy. I actually did some pretty shitty things after I left the school before I got my break. But no, anyways, I went and did this motivational talk, and it was me and like 2 other dudes. And one of them was like a guy who was like super rich. Like, I forget what he did, but he had like a Rolex on. Like this dude was rocking like a gold Rolex. And he gets up in front of class and he's like, oh, and I stayed in school and I had a troubled past and blah, blah, blah. And I did this. And he's like, now I own my own business, and, multi-million dollars. And out there parked in the parking lot is my Bentley or whatever. And I was like, dude, this guy's actually kind of baller. Like he had a cowboy hat on and everything, even though we're in like Washington where like nobody wears them. And so he takes off his Rolex and he's like, here, I'm gonna take off my Rolex and I'll show you guys like what you could be. Like if you apply yourself, and he passes around the Rolex and it never comes back to him. And he's like, okay, guys, funny, pass it forward. And the teacher's like, okay, guys, enough's enough. Somebody pocketed it and didn't send it back. And they had to actually close the doors on the classroom and search the students, like start going through. And they're like, we'll search every kid in this class. Heck yeah, man. And finally, after they threatened and they were starting to search the first kid, the guy came forward and he's like, okay, I have it. I was just joking. I wasn't going to keep it. I'm like, sure, buddy. Sure, you aren't.
Hey, man. Yeah, right. If he could have got away with it, why not?
And the other thing is like, you'd think they'd learn their lesson, because 2 other times, even when I went to the school, there was 2 times where they passed shit around and it never came back. And that was one with the DARE officer. You guys remember the DARE drug officers? So the
Damn.
dare,
Oh yeah,
the,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You remember those guys like dare to
stuff,
stay off
man.
drugs,
Come
turn in your
on.
parents, and we'll give you a
Yeah.
T-shirt or whatever.
That's so
Yeah, it
dumb.
was a joke, right? So, anyways, we had dare and choice that would come in and at the front of the class, and they bring their dog in, and we'd all like pet him and hope he didn't bite our heads off. It was actually dogs were pretty cool. The dogs are super chill when they're not telling them like eat people. So they passed around a little tiny bag, a little sealed like thing of weed. And
Get
they're like,
out.
no, I shit you not. It was like in this like little like plastic cube of vents on it, and they said, smell this. And if you smell this smell, then that means somebody in your house has this illegal substance, and you should tell us immediately. And they're passing it around so people can smell it. One of the kids stuck it in his pocket, and I don't think they ever found it.
Yeah,
they searched
nice.
the class, they shut the class down.
you
Everybody
do.
said they didn't take it, and they did not get it back. So like some kid in that classroom like took weed, like actual drugs off of a dare officer and went home with it. I was like, where did it go? Like, they must have stuck it somewhere in the room, because I mean they were searching the kids. We were getting pat downs.
Right.
And because police officers apparently can like assault minors like that. Isn't that great?
Well,
Anyways,
you
they
don't
didn't
have any
find it
right
though.
humans yet as
That's true.
children.
Yeah. And then
you
the
don't
other
matter
one
until
was
you can vote.
so the only other one that where somebody kept something and they did get this back was during sex ed. Because we had to have like sex. It's funny, we're having sex ed when there's like an 11-year-old girl who's pregnant in our class. So we're like, yeah,
Right.
I think we know how it works, bro. They come in and they have this like artificial like vagina thing on like a silicone vagina replica, and they're like, okay, and this is where you do this, and this is how you put in a female condom, and they show how you put in a female condom. Nobody uses those, right? I don't think anybody's ever used one of those things. It's like literally like a condom's like this big, and you got to jam it in, push it against the cervix or whatever. Anyways, kind of a big deal. So they're telling us how to do this. So they pass it around literally so everybody can see like how it's in there, like how it was done. And somebody in the classroom actually put it in their backpack. And it never made it back around. They're like, oh, funny. They didn't get it back though. Like, it was a joke. Like, the kid opened up his bag and was like, yeah, I don't feel like being the one that gets like stuck, tagged with this. He's like, it was just a joke, lols, and everybody had a good laugh. But and then right after that, they showed us how to put on a condom on a banana, and everybody was like cracking up laughing. Then one kid in the class was, hey, can I borrow that? Like, and you could tell that they were like the people teaching the sex ed, because they weren't our school. They'd bring in like contractors to do this.
Yeah.
So like the high school was across the parking lot from us. So they'd bring over, I think it was like teachers that did that program at that school. And we were just a really rowdy bunch, because it's an alternative school, right? It's like full of kids that are on like probation and stuff for being bad or kicked out of the school system. And but it was just funny because you could tell they were never used to it. They'd always come over, the kids would be like, woo, can I borrow that? Hey, oh my God, mine's bigger than that. It's like, oh my gosh, I kind of miss it. It was kind of fun, but I didn't earn any of my credits and I never would have graduated. So I was like, screw this, I'm out of here. Went to Olympic College, got my degree, and called it good. What's it? Jack Anderson cervical dams. Those things suck from every woman who's ever told. I can't even imagine that they even work well. Like, I don't know. That's weird. It's weird. Just wear a condom, dudes. Meat Puppet. Thank you. The $5 super chat. He said, instead of trying to do too much and potentially hurting your back, have you considered the robot lawnmower that runs similar to the robot vacuums? Yeah, actually, me and my son were watching videos on it yesterday. There's 3 or 4 companies now that make robotic vacuums that just go around your. But I'm so worried like the neighbor cat's gonna come over and like sniff it, and it's gonna like suck it under and like shred it and I'll get in trouble.
I don't know why I couldn't do like a Honey I Shrunk the Kids kind of thing and just RC car the fucking lawnmower.
They have one. They have one right now. It's like $1,000 bucks. But yeah, you can buy one that just drives around like an RC car, so you can just sit on your porch and like mow.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Just like the pistol grip style, and you just driving around my lawn.
Yeah, there's one that has a camera, so it's like FPV, and it shows you on the app like the cut width on the screen because it's kind of distorted. So like as you're driving along, you can see like which pass and like how to line the mower up with each row. I'm like, dude, that's actually pretty cool. You just sit on your porch and mow your lawn and feel like you're driving an RC car. It's a great idea.
The way to go.
The Roomba ones are a little freaky though, because you have to lay down a wire, because they don't. Apparently, they make ones that are GPS, but I haven't seen one yet. Like, everybody talks about them, but I haven't seen a review on a GPS one yet, because I guess they're just not that accurate. But you're supposed to lay a wire down. You create those little wire thing. Yeah, and apparently it can't get over that. Like that wire, it's like some inductive thing. So like when it drives over it, it's just like, oh, there's a wire here. Yep.
I've seen some of them where you lay like a squiggly line, and then the thing will follow the line to mow it. I've seen ones where it's kind of like a Roomba almost, but you have to lay out, like you have to kind of draw it yourself almost, or you have to tell it where the borders are and stuff.
Yep. That's the one I
Like
saw
it'll
too.
bump into stuff, you know, it'll try and figure it out too. But yeah, that kind of deal.
Yeah, the one I saw was
figure
just
it
like a
out.
Roomba. It'll even drive when it's done mowing. It'll even drive up on its like little charger platform and start charging again.
Yeah.
And it's not
That's kinda
induction
cool.
charging. It actually drives up and like touches the
It's got
two
little
metal pads to
contacts,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So it actually charges really fast. And I was like, but then the price of them, they're like $1,000+. I'm like, $1,000+ for a lawnmower? Like, my
Yeah,
God,
right.
dude.
I feel like, or you do the thing where you put the post in the center of your yard and you have the lawnmower attached to like a rope and it just
Get the self-drive mower and just put some tape on it or whatever when it hits the pole and just run out there and turn it off. Your lawn just looks like you have crop circles.
It's just, hey man, it works.
Where have I seen that? What was there a movie they did that in or something? Because I swear I've seen that before where somebody tied the rope on the mower.
I have seen video of people having done that, but I don't know if there was from something specific.
Richard said, "Watch Tesla come out with a mower now." Yeah, it'll end up
yeah,
like going
sure,
0
in
to 60 in
2030
1 second and kill your neighbors.
Yeah, but you won't be able to buy it until after, you know, the Cybertruck comes out in 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to wait another 5 years after that.
Every other company will come out with a self-propelled mower, and then Tesla will drop theirs after they were the first ones to say they'd have it like 5 years ago. That's Tesla's. If you go back and look at Tesla's history, that's what they've done for almost every product release except for the Model 3. Every other thing was like, on this date, we're gonna have this technology and we've cracked this nut, and we figured it out, and we know. And then it's like, get there, nothing. Get there, nothing. Year later, nothing. Year after that, oh, we kind of got something. Year after that, oh, still nothing. Oh, nothing burger. And then by the time they release the product, it's like every other company has a competing option. When they're like, we're the only company doing this, you know. So it's like one of those things where it's like, just whoever says it first, just raise your hand and bid, and then win it, and then figure out how to pay for it. You know what I mean? But it works. That's the thing. It's like as much as I hate Elon Musk and think he's a prick, like just lying like that, it works with today's like people's attention span and their ability to go research stuff. They're just like, oh my God, Iron Man said that he can do something, so it must be true. And then he just takes his time, even if it takes 5 years more than what he said, right? I mean, we're supposed to have what? Starship was supposed to be in orbit 2 years ago. So, and they still haven't got the damn thing to do anything but go straight up, turn on its belly, and like smash into the ground. And even though they got one to successfully land, it's still like busted like its landing gear. It wasn't a good landing. And so they still haven't even done the orbital test on that. So, okay, that's way behind schedule. They've like completely redesigned the thing. Yeah. What's that?
Everything's behind schedule.
I mean, to a degree, but I'm just saying this is typical of Tesla, even pre-COVID, right? Like I remember like the Model S obviously was like their first major car that they came out with after the Roadster failed and they almost went under. The Model S came out after they hired somebody to design it, and they're like, Elon, you can't design another car. Screw you. Let's hire this guy over here who's like a great designer. He'll come and design the Model S. It ends up being a fad, and everybody loves it and everybody buys it. It just takes off, right? I mean, it changed the whole industry. Like, you can't argue that Tesla did not change the industry and shift it to electric. Like, it was theirs from the start. But they inspired a lot of other companies to do stuff, but then they got complacent. They did the same thing that like Microsoft does, where they're like, oh, let's just create the Model S and just keep basically making the same car for like, you know, 7 or 8 years. And then they're like, okay, then we'll create some other models, but they're still gonna have the same drivetrain and the same everything from the other car. It's just gonna be a different body on the skateboard or whatever. And then they're like, ooh, okay, Model 3. Now let's do like an actual redesign and like create something. And the whole time they're like, even back at the Model S, they're like, ooh, autopilot. Your car's going to drive you places and like park itself and come pick you up and all this stuff. It's like, have you watched the latest autopilot videos? It still breaks the law like 10 times every hour, like driving around. Like it'll just stop in the middle of an intersection, go into oncoming traffic, steer into a parking space and think that it's in a lane. I watched one where it jumped a curb. I watched another one where it almost rear-ended somebody and they had to slam on the brakes and override it. I mean, it's still janky as hell. And you're like, I don't think they're ever, well, I shouldn't say ever. Things do progress, right? They might change the whole sensor package and figure something out. But right now, it's like with the current sensor package that's on the car, they just don't have enough data to guarantee that it's going to work all the time. Yeah, like it's janky. So I will never trust autopilot. Like on the road, that's fine. Like the thing where you're just driving down the freeway with lane keep or lane, that thing's awesome.
That's amazing, dude. Even my little Ionic, it might as well be like
no, it probably
full
is,
on driving.
It probably is.
I can, if I set the cruise control, the lane keep, or it's the what are they? It's like active cruise control, and the lane keep thing. It practically drives itself. It will keep a distance between the guy ahead of me all the way down to something like 15 miles an hour. I've let it come to a complete stop with cruise control on, like, traffic happens and it comes to a complete stop. And as soon as it started going again, it picked back up.
Yeah.
Like, it was that cool. I thought it was going to kick me out of cruise control when we got under a certain speed, but it kept it going. It's great. It'll take a little bits of curves and stuff. Yep. It's not super smart, but it's smart enough that, like, it's really it's remarkable.
I mean, so many cars have it now, though. Like Audis, BMWs.
Oh yeah, dude, even Subarus and stuff,
it.
Man. Everybody. Yeah,
this lane keep thing is like now on everything.
Rad. Yep, it's super rad.
It is. No. Actually, one of the most impressive things that Adam's Tesla ever did was when we went to PDX land. We got on 520, I think it was, and then we got to 405, and then we got on to I-5. And we were on I-5. We went all the way to Portland, just stopping at one supercharger. Whenever we got on the freeway, he set that the lane keep or whatever. Never touched it. Like, we literally went like all the way through Tacoma, Fort Lewis. I mean, probably
I could see
80 miles, 100 miles to go.
Yeah, I've done about the same, like from like about Tacoma to Longview.
Yeah,
I basically let the thing. It still complains. Like, you got to, like, I rest my hand on the bottom of the steering wheel because it complains if you're not touching the steering wheel. But yeah, it'll just do that. It's great. It's Baz.
MD in chat. He said Model S was designed by Musk. It wasn't. Go look it up. The Model S was designed by the CEO of Lucid. He now broke off and has his own company, but no, he was hired by Elon Musk to design the Model S.
Lucid's the one making the car that looks like a Lotus, right?
Yeah,
they took a lot of design from, or at least some inspiration from Lotus.
No, Lucid makes the god awful looking crazy like 4-door with like the weird chrome accents and stuff. I think it looks like
Motors.
So, yeah, some people like it, but I think it looks like steaming anus. Like, I'm not a big fan. I had a bunch of people saying that Elon designed the Model S, so I went and looked it up and did a little research, and it's like, no, he hired somebody to do that. They designed it, the drivetrain for the car. He apparently was somewhat involved in, but he did not have the final say. He let them do it because he knew they would be successful. This is weird. And the board members were like, nope, let somebody else design the car.
I see what you mean about this Lucid thing. It looks like a sedan version of the current Kia EV crossover vehicle that they have. It's like they took that design kind of inspiration and turned it into a sedan.
I just wish that
the back
these companies would stop trying to like reinvent the look of a regular car, like a nice car.
Yeah, man,
make it stand out. Like,
do something different.
It's like, come on, just create.
That's kind of why I do like the look of both Kia and the Hyundai like crossover SUV kind of thing. It looks. I mean, it's still very much like you could look at it and like, oh, that's a crossover SUV, but it's still, I don't know, like the front end is a little bit smushed down. Like, you can tell that there's no engine there,
right?
That kind of thing. And it feels bigger on the inside. It's really cool.
Yeah, because like look at the back of it. It is janky.
That's what kills me.
Dude.
The back, the tail end of this thing is whack to me.
Like, the front looks okay. The front looks like a Model S that got like a little like, and that chrome lip thing is kind of becoming trendy. I don't like it, but Ferrari does it.
That back end it looks just like the back end of the Kia SUV right now. It looks just like that.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Does it even have the weird
weird little
like
lip
pillars coming down?
Not so much that. But the back end of that with the little kind of lip on there and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Wait, let's see. This guy who made the Model S, Franz von Holtzmann. Yep, that's him.
Franz. The Roadster.
Yeah, a lot of people, because Elon during a meeting said that he designed the Model S, and the Lucid CEO corrected him. And said, no, you hired me at the company. I designed all the styling for the Model S, and people at the company corroborated it and said, yeah, no, Elon was he was involved in the project as far as hitting milestones, but he did not design that car. The battery pack was designed by one person. The rest of the drivetrain was designed by like another team, and then the body and the car and the interior and everything was designed by the Lucid CEO. So no, Elon likes to take credit for stuff he doesn't do. That's another thing. He's just like Steve Jobs in that respect, where it's like, oh, I did this and I created this, when he really just like cracked the whip until everybody made something that he thought was really awesome. And then he's like, okay, well, it's because I did that made, so it's mine.
That's right. I did this.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, it was me. I did that. No, he gets a lot of credit for like shit he doesn't actually do. I'd say the thing he's most involved with is SpaceX. And even that he's not, he hired crap loads of NASA engineers to actually like take care of the important stuff. You know, he's like, I want the pointy bit and I want the fins to look like from the 60s and stuff. He wasn't like, you know, doing a bunch of the massive engineering that makes that thing go. The Falcon 9, however, he was pretty involved in. So that's something that he should definitely get points for. But a lot of people don't realize he's a businessman. He's not an engineer anymore. He started as an engineer. He started as a developer when he was like 12 years old. But he realized there's tons more money in management, like managing other people. Because his entire his PayPal company, I don't know what it's called before he sold it to PayPal, but that entire endeavor, he didn't program that. Like that was his entire company. He claimed he was a great developer because he wrote something when he was like 12 years old. It's actually pretty good. I went and looked at the code for it. It's not bad. Like his little website game that he created in pure JavaScript back in the day, even predating HTML5, was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool code. I looked through it. I was like, okay, for a 12-year-old, that's baller, man. But he just realized there's not a lot of money in software development compared to management. And he's right, because look how much money he has. He's literally the richest man in the world by managing like 5 different companies and being the face of those companies. But there's no way he has the bandwidth to do anything tangible for any of them because he's running around. He's basically like, he hires people, he trusts them to do the right thing. He builds teams that he trusts and he can instill trust into. And then he just runs around and, you know, he's the face of it all. So you don't have, because it's really bad. This is one thing Microsoft did too. Like Microsoft doesn't say, oh, here's David Cutler, the designer of the kernel. Oh, here's Andre Vachon, the designer of VGA Sys, the first unified Vista driver. They don't do that. It's Microsoft developed this. And Bill Gates is the CEO of Microsoft. Therefore, Bill Gates developed this. Right. And that's how companies, in a way. Exactly. And the reason they do that is because if somebody leaves the company, which they do, everybody does, like David Cutler retired. When somebody leaves the company, they don't want their investors to think, ooh, that was the guy that designed that. Now he's gone. So they're not going to be as good anymore because they don't have the guy that created that. And so instead, they have a general rule that it's not general. You have to sign it in a contract when you work at the company that everything you make, you cannot leave branding on it. It has to be Microsoft branding. The only thing you're allowed to put on it is your internal alias, and that's not to be external. That's just for internal reasons to see who developed it. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Hey, Eric G, thank you for the $5 super chat, man. Said, hey guys, how's it going? Glad I could watch the stream today. Hey, it's going good, man. Well, except for Vox is all gimped up over there.
Man, for a while yet, man, it's gonna suck. Plus, like, what's really suck. So because of the surgery, I guess like the veins or I don't know, the plumbing in my foot is leaky. This is what they're telling me. So like if I have my foot, you know, just dangling or like I'm using my foot, slowly it starts to swell up and turn purple because it's leaking. I'm not like blood is like leaking out into my foot. I gotta fucking keep it elevated every once in a while to like let it drain back into the rest of me or something. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean my veins are leaky? And I guess it has something to do with like I don't know exactly. It's something to do with how the way that they do the surgery or something or whatever. It fucks up your capillaries or something, and so now it's like fucking. Man, yeah, it's weird.
And they couldn't fix that while they were in there, or did they do that?
I think it's just a symptom or just a result of the surgery. Either like I didn't dig in for the details of it, but from the way that they talked about it, this is just what happens after the surgery. There's nothing to be done about it.
Oh, like CP sutures or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess something to do with either maybe how like the tourniquet works or the anesthetic or something, but it's just a unavoidable side effect of the whole process. And I'm like, well, that sucks.
So if you put your foot down low, does it start throbbing and like start turning all?
It takes a few minutes in purpley and like what's surprising is like I thought it just feels swollen, but then like I look at it like next to each other and I'm like, holy fuck, like it's like a sausage. It's weird, all purpley and weird looking.
Oh, we got James Ken in chat. Said, Jerry, can you decide for me, University of Washington, Microsoft Electrical Engineering, or Purdue, Microsoft ES, or was it ECE? What is it, ECE? Is that Microsoft?
Expert computer engineer? Totally like guessing. Totally guessing, but it sounds right.
I mean, I'm going to go with University of Washington.
Yeah, man, go to UW.
I got to go with UW, dude. Like, Purdue can eat it.
Stay close. Plus, you could probably intern at Microsoft while you're at UW.
Yeah, actually, you can. I mean, they obviously can't accept everybody, but no, I know UW is one of the colleges that we actually did recruit interns from.
Oh, electrical computer engineering. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'd say go to UW, man. Because the other thing too is if you go to the University of Washington, you're gonna have a lot more classes that are closer to Microsoft and people that know people at Microsoft and relationships that are formed with Microsoft that aren't gonna be with the schools that are further away. Like there's a lot closer relationship between Microsoft and the University of Washington. So you'll probably get if your goal is to get a job at Microsoft, I'd say University of Washington is probably a great start. Unfortunately, the door it's not completely closed, but the door is kind of closed on people just coming in with a resume and saying, hey, Microsoft, I want to work for you, here's my resume. The pile is astronomically large. Like the odds of you even getting an interview within a couple of years is really low.
Know people, but
if
that's
you know people, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Being at UW, or like I was at Renton Tech, they had people come by to like talk about, I was in computer science, they'd come by and like talk about what they did for work and stuff, and they'd be computer scientists from programmers and stuff from Microsoft and whatnot. But that's where you're like, oh, you talk to them after their little blurb, they'll come in and be like, oh, it's pretty cool, this is like what I do every day, or these are the kind of projects I work on, like pretend to focus on this stuff, that kind of deal. But then afterward, networking, right?
Yeah,
you talk to the guy and say, oh man, that sounds really neat, I'd love to know more about what it is you do, or how you got your job, or like what do you think is best to, like, what can I do outside of school to help with this, blah blah blah. Get to know these people. It helps a lot, man. So much of tech is knowing people.
Well, yeah, you've heard it's not what you know, it's who you know. And the sad thing is that is true. Deal. It really is true. When I was a hiring manager at Microsoft, which was over half of my career, the stack of resumes that we'd received from the recruiting office, it almost always included the resumes like at the top of the pile that I was to go through, like the ones basically you go through them in order, and if you run out of time or whatever, then they just cut the last ones from there. But they organize it based on who they think you're most likely going to hire to who they think they'll least hire, so that you're starting out with like the really good people with really good resumes. Half the time you'd look at the resume and you'd be like, this guy doesn't look that impressive. And then you'd be like, oh, but he's recommended by so-and-so manager, he's recommended by so-and-so director, or he used to work with so-and-so in the lab operations. And so you're like, oh, that's how it got to the top of the pile, because it was an internal recommendation from a high-ranking employee. Yeah. And that's kind of like, the way I got my job is like starting at Microsoft through the contractor was I was recommended by another person that was already working there. So that's what gave me my interview. It's not like you just call them up and go, hey, I want to go to an interview. It's like somebody recommended me to the contracting company, and then they reached out to me. So
it makes a big difference.
They pay for referrals too. That's the funny thing, is like it's such a successful thing to have other people vouch for and basically like say, here, this is my buddy, he's really good at this, I'll vouch for him. That if they get hired, they pay you like $500 as a contractor.
Oh, sure.
It's full time. If you recommend somebody, it's like it was $2,500.
Nice.
So like if I recommended somebody and said, hey, I want my friend to come work for Microsoft, and he was competent, which happened like 3 times in my 15 years I was there, a friend would come in, give me the resume, I'd put him through the loop, I'd be one of his interviewees, which is fine. They didn't consider that a conflict of interest because you have to go through 6 more. And then they go through the loop, they'd hit the other 6 more, and then if they got hired, I got a check for $2,500. And I was like, oh, nice. This is a nice little bonus. So it's like there's huge incentive. Microsoft like hugely incentivizes like going and finding other talented people, because they figure, wait a second, you're talented, you get good reviews, you're a model employee, so chances are you know other people, like the people that mentored you and the people that you learned from. Maybe you can reach out to them and kind of nudge them and get them in the door. And here, we'll give you $2,500. You don't have to tell them that part. It's like actually one of them. I told him, I was like, yeah, dude, if you get hired, I get like $2,500. He's like, you're splitting that with me, right? And I was like, yeah, nope. I did. I gave him his $1,250. Hey, James, thank you for the $1. I appreciate it. And good luck at University of Washington, man. Richard Gagnon, thank you for that membership. Appreciate it, brother. Woo. And Stream Elements is a piece of crap, because it literally says has renewed their $sign parenthesis tier parenthesis membership for 18 months. Like it didn't do the replace. Wow. Oh man, worst code ever. Well, hey, kicking off some of the topics now. We got everybody in here. We got 226 wonderful viewers hanging out.
What?
I know, right? These people, they keep coming back. They keep coming back for more. It's like they love the punishment. Let's talk about the topic that's not even in the title. Let's talk about the one that Gimpy brought up, which is the Google algorithm AI flagging people for child abuse photos when they're sending pictures of their kids to the doctor.
Was there a
here, I'll put the link in chat
in the Twitter, right?
I'll send it to you on Twitter, and I'll put it in the chat so you can see it both places. I want you to
here we go. What is these? Oh, sure. Okay,
dude, it's so messed up.
So this is like what Apple was trying to do, right? They're sniffing at people's phones. Except, so just off the bat, so I haven't even skimmed this yet, but just off the bat, it sounds like what's happening is folk are taking pictures of their kids, right, to send to their doctors.
Yep.
Those pictures are being saved to their gallery, which is probably also then being uploaded to their like Google Photos. And that's where they're getting caught.
That's where they're getting caught. Yeah, I don't believe that this is running natively on the phone.
Don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that this is going to be sniffing at their phones. This is going to be. It's being uploaded to Google Photos and then it's being flagged.
Or it could have been attached to Gmail if they were sending it to their doctor. You know, they could have been putting in their Gmail and doing it.
Which then probably still being put on photos.
It'd still be sunk to the cloud
or sent somehow. Yeah. So let's see here.
So basically, the gist of it is a doctor asked these people to send a picture of the basically genital region, not the whole child, just the genital region where he was having this issue. And the doctor said send those over so he could confirm the diagnosis, and he did confirm the diagnosis and successfully treat it remotely by giving the kid medication. And then what happened is they basically had people show up at their house. And
see, I was right.
Were alerted. What's that?
Sorry, not to cut you off, but I was right. A Google spokesperson told the Times that Google only scans users' personal images when a user takes, quote, affirmative action, which can apparently include backing their pictures up to Google Photos. When Google flags exploitative images, the Times notes that Google is required by federal law to report to potential offender and blah, 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 blah. So that was it. It is.
Yeah. See, that's the problem is with this, there can be a lot of false positives with this technology.
Yeah.
And this was the complaint with Apple, because like one of the biggest complaints is I've literally had people go on Discord and post links to really, really bad illegal shit I had to report to the FBI. But then the problem is when you click that link and it shows up on your computer, it's now in the cache on your hard drive. So now if it's in the cache in your hard drive for Internet Explorer or whatever browser you're using, you don't clear that, and there's some kind of local thing scanning and it sees that, it's not going to give a shit whether it's part of the internet cache or not. It's like, ooh, image that meets checksum blah, blah, blah was found in file 03859-cache. And that can trip an alarm. And one of the things that I was worried about back when Apple was saying they were going to do this is there was already talk in the forum of people basically taking images created on purpose to generate the same checksum as an already known CSAM photo and mass upload that and get people to look at it in forums to get it into their cache. The phone would then look at it in the internet cache and basically after seeing 10 or 20 instances of it would report it, flag a thing, and the police would come to your house. And it was a new form of swatting. And so and I think that's one of the reasons why Apple backed off on it. Like Apple was like, okay, wait, no, we're not going to go through with this right now, is because of the potential for that to happen. Now, Google, it sounds like, just went ahead and did it without telling anybody. So nobody really knew that was a thing. And so nobody was really abusing it. But in this case, it's like this was a legitimate use on doctor's orders, and the phone probably by default saves to the cloud if you have a Google account or a Google Drive account or whatever their fucking thing is.
Yeah. Because I mean, my phone does.
Yeah.
My phone in fact, it keeps complaining I'm like running out of space because of it. But yeah, like all the pictures I take are actually, I think even the ones like I download and like save like GIFs and shit are being uploaded that way too. But yeah, it's just However, there's a weird thing here. Like it sounds, I don't know how the step by step here, but like I would think, yeah, man, I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird because like, I guess even if it was inside of some sort of like secure portal, like you open up your health, your healthcare app, right? And you can do those sort of video calls and stuff. It's all encrypted or whatever. Yeah. I imagine still, yeah, like even if I were to take a picture inside of that app, it might still be getting saved to my normal gallery anyway.
Yeah, before they send it,
it will be uploaded.
Yeah. It has to be uploaded to local storage. There's no way for it to attach it to the portal or upload it through HTML5 encrypted or whatever. It has to have something to upload, and it's not going to do that like directly from the camera to memory. It has to save it to storage first.
Crazy. And like this guy tried to appeal the decision, but they denied it. They denied his appeal request. Yep. Dude lost access to, because like I guess
they locked him out of everything. Yeah,
emails, contacts, photos, phone number, because he used the Google Fi mobile device. Everything. Dude was cut out.
He had to get a new cell carrier, new email, his phone. He couldn't use his phone anymore. Like, I mean, it was a complete lockout.
It doesn't say what happened after, or at least I'm not noticing. Because like it says the Frisco Police Department opened an investigation, found that there was, found that he was fine. But then it goes on to just some blurb from a Google spokesperson. It doesn't say like, did they apologize to him? Did he get his stuff back? It just talks about like, it's abhorrent and we're committed to preventing the spread of it on our platforms. We follow the law, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like, additionally, our team of child safety experts reviews flagged content for accuracy and consults with pediatricians to help ensure we're able to identify instances where the user may be seeking medical advice. So what the fuck happened here? Like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
If you have teams of safety experts who are supposed to review this stuff, his appeal got denied, so that was probably an auto like denial and stuff. I'd like to know more about the aftermath of
The
this.
false hit rate on this stuff is insane for image recognition.
Oh, there's no doubt.
So even like Google image search or whatever, they made
It's not.
Yeah, they made the
context
algorithm so
sensitive.
aggressive that they I'm trying to remember if it was Bing or Google that was sued by a porn star that said that their system filtered all their content from their search and removed it. And if anybody searched for them by name, it would pop up and say, oh, you know, if you're looking at this, call this number to get help now or whatever. And she's like, I literally, this is my career. I'm 18 years old. I'm at his age. I have my license. I'm literally on the books in Van Nuys. And it was like blocking all of her content everywhere. And it was a huge appeal process for her to get allowed back into the algorithm, because what happened is she was just a really young looking performer, and her eyes or whatever, her eye ratio to her nose tip to chin or whatever was throwing off the algorithm and making it think that she was underage. And so for that reason, they basically like completely blacklisted her from the internet and like basically attacked and flagged anybody that searched for her. And so you have problems with the technology where it can't be accurate enough and it acts first. Now, again, you can make the counterpoint too, that I would rather it be overprotective than underprotective in this case.
Sure.
However, there needs to have a
robust, there needs to be a more robust appeal system then.
Right. And you can't be calling the cops and shit through an automated process. Like, it has to be like human being sits down, human A, human B, verify, both sign off, turn your key. Now the cops get called. Like, doing research, so that there's somebody accountable if they screw up.
Yeah,
because I'm getting sick of these companies saying, "Oh, our AI, is a bug," or it's just doing what it's supposed to in the algorithm. It's like there's some false positives, but it's not that much. Like, that was Apple's excuse, right? Oh, only one image in like a million is going to get falsely identified and send the police to their house. It's like, that's still too much. How many millions of people have your phones? So you're just going to say like every day, like, I don't know, 1,000 people or whatever just get like a knock from the police and they like pin them down and like search their house. Like, oh my God, it's just that kind of stuff really scares me, that we're getting to that level of privacy invasion. But at the same time, it's like none of us really have privacy. Like, the second you connect to the internet, privacy is right out the window. It's like you can do things to improve it, but you can't do things to stop it entirely. Like, the government's already shown that they can crack most encryptions. The government's already broken into stuff that was like encrypted and uploaded to Mega and some of those other sites without needing the passwords. They were able to break into the payloads. So the government already has like all kinds of shit on deck that they don't want anybody else knowing about, that can break encryptions and get around things. And they purposefully don't let anybody know about it, because if somebody knew about it, then they would switch the encryption to something that they don't know how to break.
Sure.
So it's and like that iPhone. You remember the case with the terrorist guy where he wouldn't unlock his iPhone, and it took the government like 7 days to break it?
Yeah.
Like, they code broke it. Apple refused to cooperate, and in 7 days they were able to code break the phone on their own without a private key. It's like, that should be impossible.
It took a while.
They claim the encryption is
I thought
so strong.
They hired someone out for that. Didn't they?
Bro, they didn't do it themselves. I know it was some company that did it.
Yeah, it was some third-party people that the FBI like contracted to do it. But
they had some exploit though where they could connect a box to the phone, and it would basically like bypass the login and get into the phone after like a couple of hours. Yeah. Like, I don't know if it was rolling and guessing passwords. That probably isn't it, because that would take, a lot of tries. Oh, no. I remember what it was. It exploited a bug where, how when you type into the iPhone, you type in your code and you get it wrong like 3 times, it locks you out for a little while.
Sure.
They found a bug that allowed them to get around that, to where they could try thousands and thousands of combinations of the code. And it was a 6-digit code. So to go through all permutations of 6 digits, because they could do it rapidly. Yeah, I think that's what it was. They were able to basically bypass the mechanism that slows you down. And so they basically just rolled. They just like cracking a safe.
Times it's like it'll make you wait like 10 years. Like, every time you get it wrong, after a certain point, it adds like a shit ton of time.
Yeah, and every site should do that. It's just I think they found a workaround to where it didn't do that. Like, they could bypass that mechanism that would pause, so they could have unlimited tries. But they were able to break into the phone. It's like, okay, and Apple's like, all right, well, we obviously got bugs to fix. Like, that shouldn't be happening. but at the same time, everybody celebrates it because they're like, oh yeah, but they caught a terrorist, so that's good. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that is good, but it's really hard. It's a gray area, right? It's really hard to like sit in the middle and say what is worth tolerating as a private society with some level of privacy versus having like just absolute oversight at the cost of freedom, like to just make sure that you catch every single possibly thing could be, and the inconvenience 10 people to catch one. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a hard argument to make, because like for me personally, I love it when they catch these guys. I love when they catch these CSAM guys and these other fucking predators and terrorists. It's like, I want to see them burn.
It's not, that's why, again, you have to have the like the appeal process be very, very robust.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna cast such a wide fine net, and it will be inconvenient, and I guess that's kind of shitty. Inconvenience is not the same as lack of freedom. Absolutely. And I think yeah, it just, the other side of it then needs to be just as like hardcore, right? Because
Actually,
you are going to catch, you're going to catch a lot of people. You're going to catch a lot of people by accident, and it'll get better. Like as you are able, because again, it all comes around to context, right? Like if somebody's got a picture of that old Nirvana album, right? That's literally child porn. Like,
yeah.
but again, context, right? That's why there's the pornography razor or whatever, right? You know it when you see it because it's so context sensitive. Like a naked woman or whatever, or just nakedness on its own isn't enough to constitute pornography, right? There's a certain element of like salaciousness that comes along with pornography. And so like it's really tough to teach these models that level of context.
Yeah.
Better to let a criminal go than convict an innocent man. Right. But that's why 100%. The checks and balances have to be there.
They need to be there, and they're not to some degree.
And in this instance, it sounds like it clearly says that it wasn't, because he appealed this. They denied the appeal request, which tells me a human probably did not like have anything to do with the rejection of that appeal, because then the cops came in and there's nothing. They obviously took like 3 minutes to like look at some emails and like, oh yeah, this was fucking stupid, and nobody's like, nobody's being.
All they had to do was ask all they had to do was ask the recipient. That's all they had to do. Is recipient's a doctor, call the doctor's office, verify that he is in fact a doctor, and be like, did you solicit this for medical reasons? And they'd be like, yes, and then be the end of it. Like, and Google could still say after that, like, hey, listen, we can't have this on our platform for whatever reason, and nuke it and just say, hey, next time, use a different mechanism or use this if you're going to be doing with your doctor. I have no problem with Google saying we don't want that shit on our server. Like they don't want a lot of shit on their server, but to just criminalize it immediately and jump to the worst possible outcome and have the cops bust in and traumatize people and bust the door open. It's like that sticks with you forever. That will change. Even if they let you go at the end, it's like that is a traumatic experience. You'll never feel safe in your house again. I mean, I know somebody who was swatted and they literally their security at their house is Fort Knox now. Like they have 5 locks on their front door. They have perimeter security, laser trip beams, a proximity sensor outside the house. It's like a static field that if anybody gets within 3 feet of the exterior of the house, it'll actually trigger and tell them exactly where they are and how they're moving. And it's like tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment to feel safe again. And even with all that, they still didn't sleep well for like 6 months, because it's like they're just sitting in their house where they think they're secure. And these dudes just like bust in the front door, come in like freaking, guns blazing. And it's like, what the hell is going on? And so after that, I was like, that's why I went and filled out the protection with the police department, but they don't tell anybody about it. You have to know about it. Like you have to have a bad thing happen to you. And then you can go tell your friends and be like, oh, listen, there's paperwork you can fill out that'll stop that from happening. But it's like most people had to have it somebody had to have it happen to them so they could tell me to fill it out so that I could fill it out. And then when the attempt was made on me, they caught it both times and, it didn't go anywhere. They basically just said, hey, what's the password or whatever? And they're like, oh, password what? I don't have a password. And they're like, okay, we're going to flag this as a false call. They don't tell the caller that. They try to keep them on the line and they trace the number and try to get a bunch of information and record it so they can send it to the police. And then the police open up a case number. But you have to have that paperwork for it to do that. Otherwise, they're going to be like, oh my God, this is really going down. Get the SWAT team. Right. So, and now we're hitting the point where it's like, since everything is handled by computers, you're not gaming a human, you're gaming a computer. It's like you can find ways to denial of service. Like in this case, like it was a denial of service attack too, right? Because they just instantly shut off his phone, shut off his email, every form of communication he had to ever defend himself or call or straighten it out. He was basically just stuck in his house with nothing. He had to probably get in his car and like drive to the police department and be like, hey guys, I need some help, because he would have just sat there until somebody busted in his door, because he had no way to communicate to anybody what was going on. And that's why you don't use one service for everything. It's like I would never use Google as my email and my phone. I would never use Microsoft as my only operating system on everything that I have. Like I want to make sure that there is always something. I have both an Android and an iPhone. So if Apple decides to pull some shit on me, I throw a SIM in my Android and I'm good. Yeah. But that's the problem, is these companies have way too much power these days. Way too much power. Yeah. And they're handing it to a computer because there's not enough humans to physically look at everything. That's the biggest problem that you run
killer.
into is there's no way
Yeah.
to do it. Like, how do you solve that problem? Like when 5 like freaking 100 billion messages are posted a day to like Twitter, you can't hire enough employees, like physical people, to go through 500,000 messages. Even if less than 1% of those messages get reported as something up, it's like they don't even have enough bandwidth to even do 100th of that to look at those. So there has to be a computer at some point that sorts through these things and be like, this is the high priority to low priority. And I always get things all the time. Like whenever I report something on Instagram, even if it's something really terrible, like, you know, the bio is like, oh, we hack, you know, TikTok for Bitcoin or whatever, contact us here.
Yeah.
And I'll report it and I'll just get a thing back 24 hours later. Like they should just send it to me in a minute, but they hold it for 24 hours. And I get a thing. It's like, oh, we have reviewed your case. And unfortunately, due to a high volume of, you know, requests, we can't look at it this time. We're sorry. If you don't like this user, just ban them or block them. Here's instructions how. And TikTok does the same thing.
Yep.
You report something on TikTok.
Oh man,
back. It's like,
they're
the volume,
they're
blah,
the
blah,
worst,
blah.
man.
Yeah.
Not to go weird, but holy cow,
weird.
I stumbled on this freaking some drama that's going on the Tweeterverse.
There's drama every day.
No, this is kind of crazy and has seriously made me consider when I get back into regular streaming, just going to YouTube. Dude, they're just being super whack with their bans and stuff. I mean, it's just a continuation of an issue that's been a thing forever and ever. But like, I saw a clip of this gal. Now people are making it sound a lot worse than what it really looks like. But even still, it's there, right? They're saying, "Oh, this gal was getting like fucked on stream, like live, right?" And it's like yes, but no, right? So she's got like she's like leaning over her desk or something. So it's like you can only really just see like maybe from like the bust, so, right? Like maybe shoulders up. And she's like making ahigo faces and stuff, and like, but you can kind of see in the reflection of like the slider that's behind her that somebody's like going nom 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 or like doing some stuff back there. It's not super clear, but it's obvious that she's like being handled back doing. There.
Yeah.
Got a 7-day ban for it. Another gal,
that's fucking ridiculous.
Did a whole like strip tease, thinking that she was on her OnlyFans account, but she was broadcasting on. This was her story at least.
This has happened several times. So
and got at first it was. I think at first it was a perma ban. But she like wrote a really apologetic letter, I guess, and it was reduced to 22 days. But then there's this other guy, Dijon, something like that. I'm butchering his screen name for sure. I guess had some beef with Pokimane, Pokimane. And I think like spam her or him and his.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I think it's Dion or something.
I think that it might be pronounced.
I know who you're talking about.
There's a J in there, but He's
like the British black dude, right? That said that he was just like he called her names or something in chat.
Yeah, it was like spamming L's in the chat or something, and then they squashed their beef like outside of streams or whatever, and like they're buddies now. Or whatever.
He's still permabanned.
He's still permabanned for it, and
she already said like it's no big. Hey, we're glad we resolved it. Thank you for. I saw the whole thing play out on Twitter back when it happened a couple months ago.
I only just stumbled on it now because I guess he's like. I mean, he doesn't give a shit about Twitch or whatever. He's moved.
Gideon, that's who it is. Gideon.
Gideon, yeah.
Gideon, yeah.
But man, and I guess he's like, this is outrageous because like just in the last like month or something, like look at some gal like straight up like exposed all of her lady bits, like no, this was clearly no accident kind of thing.
Oh, Amaranth does it all the time on purpose, and then she just gets a 24-hour ban and she's back because she's the highest earner on the platform.
It's nuts. Just I'm like,
there's bad double standard.
And I don't know. I feel like YouTube's coming up. They're getting a little better about their live streaming stuff. I still think everybody needs to spin it off to their own, or at least a better portal entry place to the live content and stuff. But they're getting better about it. And
YouTube, I see for everything I see on Twitch though, I see another thing on YouTube doing the same thing. Like where it's like my entire channel got banned on YouTube. I can't reach anybody. They won't respond to me on Twitter. They won't give me a reason why they banned me. Like this is the other thing I don't like about Twitch is Twitch will say you're banned, and then you're like, why'd I get banned? And it's like, we're not going to tell you.
They've been better about that. I have seen screenshots of where they call out the specific rule that you broke, and sometimes have a clip of it.
Because we still don't know why Doctor. I mean, there's allegations, but we don't know really why Doctor.
I think he's not allowed to talk about it. I think
Oh, you think
neither of
there's a
them.
legal thing?
I think they're neither of them are legally allowed to say anything about it because I think it involved people internal to Twitch. I think that he and someone internal to Twitch were either, I don't know. I think it has something to do with somebody internal high up in Twitch. They had something happen and neither of them are allowed to talk about it. Just flat out. It is a hard break. Nobody's allowed to say anything for 100 years or whatever.
Yeah, actually, Jack Ander makes a good point here. Says YouTube has allowed CP to this day. Sorry, they're no better than Twitch. And no, that's actually true. I've reported a lot of it on because people send me links. This is one thing that sucks about being a content creator that actually cares about stopping that shit is people all the time will be like, send you a link to a YouTube video and go, this is really fucked up. Can you report this? Can you help us get this taken down? As a matter of fact, I was the one that got
I'm not watching it.
LeBrant. No way. The LeBrant family. I was the one that got the fucking cops to go to his house when he had like his little stepdaughter, like completely no panties on, legs spread on the bed for like 2 seconds. And people sent me the link and I clicked on it. I was like, holy shit. I watched it and I was like, yeah, there's no question. And I approached him and he's like, oh man, this is like, I can't take this video down, but hey, thanks for letting us know. No, she's wearing really tight flesh colored panties. It's no big deal. Like, hey, thank you for letting me know or whatever. And I said, no, it's a big deal. You need to take this shit down. He's like, oh, but it's growing so fast and it's getting so many views and it's outpacing analytics. I was like, fine, fucker, I'll go to the cops. And then finally, after I went to the cops a couple hours later, I get a message back from him. Oh, we've decided to take the video down. Thank you so much for letting me know about this. Hey, I really, and I just replied back to him. I said, you should have taken the fucking video down when I told you to and everybody else told you to. And he's like, oh, no, thank you so much. Like, honestly, I just, I thought it was something else. I didn't watch it. I should have went back and watched it. I'm like, dude. And it was after the video already had like 10 million views, like in one day. It was crazy. Yeah. Everybody was just sharing it with everybody. And I was like, my God, I was so pissed off. And he's still there. The LeBrant family is still on YouTube after posting freaking child porn. And it pisses me off. Like that pisses me off. And people send me links to like, this is the thing. I want to grab these parents by the throat and just throttle them. These parents that let like their little like 6 and 8-year-old daughters and shit do these like morning routine, night routine, getting in and out of the shower with with like a towel on, slipping left and right. It's really like, where are the parents? Weird, like, do they not know their kid is like has this like channel that's getting like 10 million views per video because their kid's like running around naked on YouTube? It's like, oh my God, dude. And the thing is, I report it. Every time I see it, I report it. This is in the most hardcore things I can. And half the time I get a thing back. It's like, oh, due to the volume of reports on YouTube, we can't look at this time. Please ban this user if you don't want to see him anymore. And it's like, it's not a matter of me banning him. Like, oh my God. But so I wouldn't say, I honestly don't think YouTube's any better than Twitch. I just think Twitch is getting a lot more heat right now because
they're like big.
And it's the big guys that are getting banned, right? We're on YouTube. It's like they usually target the little guys. But the double standards on Twitch are ridiculous, though. Like who's the body painter we know? Come on, seriously, you know what I'm talking about, right?
K Pike.
K Pike, thank you. It's been a while. It is,
it has been.
K Pike is like she had to fight to stay on Twitch under because she covers like her nipples and stuff, and she does most of the painting before she starts the stream, so everything's covered. And they banned her like twice, and she fought it, and she got to come back.
Oh man, it's that body painting is really terrible one too.
And now everybody gets banned when they come on as a body painter. You do one stream as a body painter, you're instantly permanently banned for life.
It's pretty much
to get their attention.
I've seen a few come back and whatnot, and they fight back and forth. And Twitch has some better specific rules about body painting and stuff, but they're still super arbitrary about it. Yeah.
Like Amaranth, this is the thing. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against Amaranth. I have nothing against Pokimane. Like, run what you're brung, right? Do your thing. Like, as long as you're within TOS, do whatever you want. But the problem is, Amaranth has literally had like vagina slips, nipple slips. Like, I mean, in the tens. Like, not just like once every once in a while. It's like a huge $1,000 tip comes in. It's like, oops, my towel. Oh God, that just happened on Twitch. And then what happens? She gets a 24-hour ban. But she doesn't care because she got such a huge amount of money for that period of time. It's like, ooh, I get to take a little vacation. And then what'll happen is Twitch will just unban her the next day. I've never seen her get a ban longer than a day. And I'm like, okay, but if anybody else does that, you ban them for life or a month. It's like, where is like the chart that you have to look at and say this plus this equals this? Like, no, like if you're this person or this person or this judge, you get to be biased. It's like, no, you have to look and prove, did this specifically happen? And it doesn't matter if they're the biggest streamer on the platform or the person who just joined, you have to treat them equally. And that's not happening. I 100% know that that's not happening. Wait, what's it say? Jack Anderson, you may want to check that again. I just saw somebody who was doing the body painting thing last week on Twitch. She normally does cosplay and could not believe it was allowed. She's still on Twitch. No, it is allowed.
Body painting's still allowed.
It's allowed now.
It's just, it's super, they're very, very arbitrary. They do have some specific rules, but there's like a few lines in there that are vague enough where they can just grab you for anything, you know? So it's hard.
Yeah. No, it is. They definitely did, like, because it was happening a lot. They did kind of crack down on it and refine the rules so that, you know, people, as long as they meet the criteria for body painting, meaning that you're covering up like certain things and you're painting a certain amount before you get started. It's allowed now. It's defined. But before it was so loosely defined that it was basically like any nudity doesn't matter. Any nudity, you're out. But the thing is, it's still a little bit contradictory because in the rules, and this is where it can get confusing to an arbitrator, is you look in the rules and it's like, you know, you have to wear somewhat modest clothing to a degree. Like if you read in the TOS, it's like you shouldn't have like areola showing, you shouldn't have the bottom of your breast hanging out. Like there's all kinds of things they define in there as like, you can't have this. But then you go down like 3 more rules and it's like, oh, but if you're swimming or you're in a body of water, you can be in a tiny bikini and it's perfectly okay. So anything that's classified as swimwear that covers up your areola or whatever, that's okay. Like run with your trunk. But if you're outside of a pool, you can't do that. So now you have like Amaranth, who literally just has a room with an inflatable pool in her house that she fills with water, and she just gets in there in her little bikini and jumps around and gets all of her money. And she's like, as long as she's in that body of water, that body of water is close to her, well, she's streaming, she is technically following the rules. You know, same thing with the double standard with men. It's like you can take your shirt off as long as it's not in a sexual context. So if you take your shirt off to do exercise or you take your shirt off because it's hot outside, you can do it. But if there's any sexual context to it, like, ooh, yeah, you like this, so, you know, then boom, you're gone. You're gone. And for women, it's, of course, they can't do that because of the double standards in society. But the problem is they leave it, because the rules conflict with each other so much and there's so many contradictions. You basically leave it on whoever the arbitrator is to interpret those rules. And so what they're going to do is, this is the step I don't think Twitch tells people about that I'm clearly seeing. I don't think I'm the only one seeing this, is how much revenue does this streamer create for the platform? And then depending on how much revenue they stream, that's what they do the sentencing by. So it's like, oh, nudity on stream, permanent ban if you make under $10 a month for us. You know, 30-day ban if you make 5,000 for us. If you make 100,000 or $1 million, 1-day ban. You know, so that's what I feel like's happening. Is like, it's your how long your band is directly proportionate to how big you are on the platform. And that, I think, is wrong. I think that sends a really bad message, because that's like, you know, if you start on the platform, you have to be super modest when you're competing against all these other people that can break the rules. It's the same thing that we deal with in society and capitalism, where it's like, oh, if you're Elon Musk, you can just insider trade or screw the stock, and then the SEC is like, oh, we're going to charge you $20 million when you made $150 million doing it. You know, it's like you end up like getting rewarded for breaking the law, whereas everybody below that wealth level gets punished for breaking that law. So it's like, how can they ever compete and rise to that level when they can't do the same things? You know what I mean? Yeah. It starts getting gray. It starts getting gray really fast. And I don't like that. But this shit with the AI analysis, though, back to this, it's like, this is not going to end well. This is not. This is going to be so freaking weaponized. Now, to be honest, this is like the first thing I've heard. Like, I haven't seen anything else from Google where people said, oh, there was like AI flagging or anything like that. So I'm wondering if this is something that's reasonably new that they brought online. No, because that article talked about have there been other occurrences? There was like they didn't point out a bad one, but they pointed out in 2012 it led to an arrest, like an actual it worked. Like many internet companies, including Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit, Google has used hash matching with Microsoft's Photo DNA for scanning uploaded images to detect matches with known CSAM. In 2012, it led to an arrest of a man who was a registered sex offender and using Gmail to send images. In 2018, the launch of its Content Safety API AI toolkit that can proactively identify never foreseen imagery so it can be reviewed and, if confirmed, removed and reported as quickly as possible. So it's like, come on. It does say that Google has reported 621,583 cases of CSAM to the NCMEC, which is the cyber tip line. They're the database that holds all this stuff for checksums. But 621,000 cases, I know that sounds like a lot, but that still sounds like that's within the realm of like humans reviewed those. Like that's not that's not in the millions. So that's why I'm thinking like maybe a lot of that wasn't the automated system being as involved as it is now. Yeah. And then you got here, because the other thing too is it's like, I mean, that was only just last year. like, even though that photo was of a child's genitalia, it's like there was clearly a medical problem. Like, the whole point of taking the picture was there was something really wrong.
That's why
So
I'm like,
how did they look at that and not see that, even think or entertain the option, like, okay, why would somebody take a picture of, like, the herpaderps or whatever? It's like, there's got to be some context here. Just one human could figure this out in like 3 seconds and not ruin their lives,
Right. That's why I'm like kind of pissed that the appeal got denied. It's like, that's where you need to have, like, man, there's like so many different pieces of this puzzle where it could have been caught. Like, okay, so the image was uploaded to, man, it's just like, yo, I sent this to my doctor. Like, that's it. Like, that right there, boom, that solves it. Like, but if nobody wants to freaking talk about it, no human. I cannot believe that a human got involved in this poor guy's case. But not until after the fuzz, not until after the cop said there was nothing here. And then I imagine he got his accounts back. He'd have to, but
yeah, and the other thing is like, even Apple was like, oh, we're not going to like trigger on a single image. It's got to be like 20 of them or something. So unless this guy sent like 500 pictures to his doctor, I don't know how it triggered the mechanism. Like, I don't know. Google must be hypersensitive.
Yeah.
But if they're doing that, if they're acting on like a single photo like that, then that means that the false positive hit rate has got to be through the roof. Like, absolutely through the roof. Like, you could literally just be like at a public pool and take a picture of yourself, and a kid could be in the background in a bathing suit that's like a couple shades off. And the algorithm's like, dude, oh, this is bad. And then a human doesn't look at it. And they're like, sorry, we have too many things in the queue. Let's just send it to the police.
MD Hosty says the guy's still banned. That's fucked up. Like, why?
That's super fucked
up. Especially when there's clearly that's not cool. Like,
I hope I'd be the shit out of Google. Google's got deep pockets. Sue the shit out of them. Make this public as possible.
They settle instantly. They'd settle instantly on something like that. Oh, yeah, this article's only just from 5 days ago. So.
That's true. I guess this shit does take time, but it's like, oh my gosh. So MPS said in chat, does that mean all of our childhood pictures of us like in the bathtub and stuff like that, that's all child porn now? And it's if you broadcast it over the internet, it is. If you attach it to a private email to a family member, yes, it is. The rules have changed dramatically now. It's like, and I think that there's even like in the law, it's like you can technically have those photos, but they have to be like secured by you and only visible to you and parties that are connected to you. It's really weird, like that, because they just patch it, right? They don't give it any like serious thought. They're just like, oh, let's just amend it with these 5,000 conflicting things, and then they can just go to court and spend $100,000 to like actually figure out the right one that fits. And that's unfortunate, because if a human was involved in most of these cases, they'd be able to make a call immediately as to what's happening.
Instantly.
It's like
there's no question,
I don't know.
That's where that like the I know it when I see it kind of thing is tough. Like, how do you train a model for that? It's like impossible.
Problem, man. It's a really fucking problem. So moving on from that terrible subject, but again, I mean, we have strong views on that. That's fucked up.
It is. Yeah.
James Webb and Big Bang not being real, possibly? What?
No Big Bang?
Oh, yeah. James
is that what you're
Webb,
trying to tell me right now?
That's what they're saying. Let's see here.
James. What is this? What is this?
Let's see here.
Sounds made up.
Proves big. I mean, it might be. Again, it's a topic that was sent to us. Let me see if I can pull up the article because I lost it here. Okay, it looks like somebody cleared it. Okay, so no, James Webb Space Telescope images do not debunk the Big Bang. Okay, so this was just published. So
my whole like worldview is about to crumble.
Yeah, the JWST provides an intriguing look into the early universe, but it's not yet rewriting fundamental theories of the cosmos. So, well, actually, that's not entirely true, because we found rings around Jupiter. Did you see that?
Oh, I'm sure little bitty ones,
Yeah, we never saw that before. We didn't think there was any rings around Jupiter, and now with James Webb, they are perfectly clearly visible. Not even a little bit. It's like there is a clear defined ring around Jupiter, and it's like we couldn't see that before. Like I want to close up picture of Saturn now. Like, aim that shit at Saturn. I want to see like how many rings and moons and shit we missed. Because this thing can pick up stuff that we couldn't even see in our own solar system, which I think is just absolutely amazing. Let's see what it says here. It said, how did the universe come to be? The prevailing theory is that everything began with the Big Bang. In a nutshell, the theory suggests everything, everywhere, all at once suddenly burst into life. It's a little bit more. I mean, I guess not. I guess
close enough.
I guess that's an apt description. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, it's a little more, but I'm like, no, actually, it isn't that more complicated than that. That's pretty much what happened. The caveat being that everything everywhere prior to the Big Bang is fairly hard to conceptualize, right? Because of course we have I think the prevailing theory is that we have perception of time as an element, like, of us, like we perceive time in a certain way.
Yeah, so our perception of existence is not necessarily like
Yeah,
That
so there's
comes
no
down to like
guarantee.
relativity
Yeah.
and stuff, right? Like it depends.
And our rules only necessarily apply to our universe based on how it's created. There could be a million big bangs going off a trillion a second all throughout the cosmos where they're outside of our realm in another dimension and another bubble somewhere. Yeah, it's like, but what's happening in between those, we don't know. We obviously don't know. All we can do is theorize about it. The Big Bang Theory is currently the best model we have for the birth of the universe. Astrophysicists have shown the theory explains fairly comprehensively phenomena who observed in space over decades, like lingering background radiation and elemental abundance. It's a robust framework that gives us a pretty good idea of how the cosmos came into being about 13.8 billion years ago. But with a flurry of preprint papers and popular science articles about the James Webb Space Telescope, old erroneous claims that the Big Bang never happened at all have been circulating on social media and in the press from recent weeks. One scientist has claimed that the JWST images are inspiring panic among cosmetologists. That is the scientist who studied the origins of the universe. What?
Oh, okay. I'm like, what do hairdressers got to do with any of this? Cosmetologists.
I know. I always think about that too. Whenever I see that word, I'm like, what? Isn't that a hairdresser?
Sorry.
Or somebody who does makeup. This is simply not true. The JWST has provided no evidence disproving the Big Bang Theory, and the cosmetologists aren't panicking. Why then are we seeing viral social media posts?
Let's get some astrologers in here too while we're at it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. They can read our tarot cards and shit. And funky headlines that suggest the Big Bang didn't happen at all. To answer these questions and show you why you should be skeptical of claims like this, we need to understand where the idea came from. Okay. So where did the idea that the Big Bang didn't happen come from? Like, I actually want to know this. I don't know. It says it all started in an article with the Institute of Art and Ideas, a British philosophical organization, on August 11th. The piece was written by Eric Lerner, who has long argued against the Big Bang Theory. Sure, he's a Christian. He even wrote a book titled "The Big Bang Never Happened" in 1991. This provocative.
I was there.
I know. I was there.
It never happened.
It never happened. It's Woodstock, man. He was up there. I tell you. This provocatively headlined article at the IAI. I love how everybody's like believing the like super like religious artist dude who's probably like super high and like drawn. That guy knows. Screw all the astrophysicists like Neil deGrasse Tyson. No, I don't believe that shit.
That guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Man. He doesn't know shit.
He's a weird guy. I know him. He's fake.
It said Lerner's article gathered steam across social media, being shared widely by Twitter and across Facebook over the last week. It makes sense why it caught fire. It's a controversial idea that upends what we think and what we know about the cosmos. In addition, it tried a new piece of technology in the James Webb Telescope, which has seen parts of the universe we've never been able to see before. Well, obviously, that's why we built it, including Webb as a news hook. And here suggests there's new data which overturns the longstanding theory. Don't get me wrong. There's new and intriguing data emerging from the JWST, just not the kind that would undo the Big Bang Theory. Most of the new data trickles down to the public in the form of scientific preprints, articles that are yet to undergo peer review, and land in the repositories like ARXIV, I don't know what that is, or popular press articles. Lerner's piece uses some of the early JWST studies to attempt to dismiss the Big Bang Theory. What's concerning is how it misconstrues early JWST data, suggesting that astronomers and cosmetologists, I just keep thinking astrologers and oh my God, and worried about well-established theory is incorrect. There are 2 points here in Lerner's article which show this. He said he points to a preprint with the word panic in the title, calling it candid exclamation. And he misuses a quote from Allison Kirkpatrick as an astronomer at the University of Kansas. The point is just a case of Lerner missing the pun. So it's basically a joke that was made by scientists he used to fuel his theory. But that's the thing, it like goes viral. This actually went viral. Like this caught enough steam from enough people who are like, oh my God, Big Bang's wrong, Jesus. Like man, this is a testament to like how, dude, you're worried about nukes blowing us up? Nope. It's gonna be social media, dude. We're gonna the AI is gonna just convince us to all kill and eat each other before like a single bomb lands. I'm calling it. I'm calling it, folks. That's my theory for the end of the world. Armageddon is not going to be nukes dropping everywhere and mutually assured destruction. I think it's literally going to be us all killing each other because the internet tells us that it's end of days and there's no food and there's no fuel and all the gas stations are open and all the food is stocked and we don't even bother go looking because we like believe, oh, it's trending on Twitter,
right?
It must be real. Oh, we got to go kill our neighbors before they kill us. You know, it's just, oh my God, dude, we're doomed. You know what? It's going to turn out T2 was right. I bet you it turns out T2 is right. Skynet is basically online right now and becoming more and more intelligent because it's learning how to game us into buying shit off Amazon.
There you
us.
go.
Yeah, it's going to turn on
Everybody's just going to stay inside.
Yeah, the mistake they made is it's not going to be intelligence at all. It's literally just going to be an algorithm that's designed to sell us shit, and then the world's going to turn into Wall-E. That's what's going to happen. Like you're going to have. What was the name of the Costco thing in that movie? Was like big something. Oh God! Tell me in chat, guys. You know the big store that rules the Big Mart or something Mart. That was absolutely hilarious. It's like that's what's going to happen. Like literally, the algorithm is going to convince us just to buy everything on Amazon, and everybody's going to have 10,000 things a week shipped to their house, and it's just going to build giant landfills, and like it'll be like Idiocracy with like the giant dust bowl tornadoes and everything, because all life will be cut off from the sun, covered in Amazon boxes. You just watch, man. It's going to happen. Yeah. It's absolutely going to happen. I love Hellmart. No, it wasn't Hellmart.
No,
it was like some like big Mart or something. Let's see here. What was the store in Wall-E? I love that I can just ask questions like this. By and large,
there it is.
By and large was like took over the whole world. It was a corporation, and I pretty much, when they made this movie, I know this was analogous to Amazon. Like everything about it was Amazon, right? So it's like by and large takes over all other businesses and becomes like the only business, kind of like Costco in Idiocracy. In Idiocracy, Costco becomes like the biggest store in the world, and everything's Costco. Yeah. And then the only thing that survived other than Costco was Carl's Jr. and Starbucks, which became a whorehouse. Starbucks was a whorehouse. Ordering a latte wasn't a coffee. And then, and what was it? Fuddruckers got turned into butt effers. Because the name kept getting misspelled as people became less and less educated from the internet. So it got to the point where they just like renamed the restaurant to butt effers. And yeah, that was funny. And it's funny because they show a scene in the movie. It's one of my favorite movies. They show a scene in the movie where the kids are having a birthday party inside through the window, and it like pans back as these kids are having this big birthday party, and this is the big glowing sign that says butt effers. It's like you take your kids there for a birthday. Oh my God. I'm starting to think Mike Judge knew the future a little bit better than we thought. Hey, what's up, Gimpy? Yeah, Gimpy just did a $5 super chat.
Hey.
Yeah, we got to do, where's hold on, do I got a, nope.
Oh, that's a good one. Spooky dollars.
Oh, there we go. That's appropriate. Yeah, I gotta go. We're here. Let's see. Yes. Feel the money through our veins. He said, I always feel like somebody is behind me and wants the James. Wait. Always is behind me and want the James Webb telescope to take a look to soothe my mind. Everybody donate, please, so we can help Ox and Barn. Wait. I always feel like someone is behind me and wants the James Webb to take a look to soothe my mind.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
He thinks somebody's behind him, so he needs the telescope to look for him. Oh, he's never there.
That's what he's saying. He wants it to turn on the planet and keep an eye on his backside. Oh,
that's right.
I mean, if you pay NASA enough, they'll probably do it. They said they have a fuel surplus now. The thing's supposed to last like twice as long as they first estimated, so they could probably flip that bitch around a couple times.
Yeah, man,
that'd be funny. You know what? That's the thing. There's people on this earth that are rich enough that they could probably get NASA to do that. Like if Elon went to NASA and said, "Listen, I'll give you $100 billion if you just turn that telescope around for a week and like videotape my vacation in Bali," like NASA would be like, I don't think anybody will notice. We'll take it down for maintenance.
It'd be just a bunch of like infrared. You probably wouldn't even see anything. The thing's so sensitive, it'd just be all washed out.
Yeah, I know. After the picture of Jupiter,
it's not like binoculars. It's not optical, like in that way. Like, come on.
I am curious. It would be. I think it'd be like wildly out of focus.
Multiverse spookers that are getting him.
Well, I mean, the multiverse theory is one of the prevailing theories.
Yeah,
but again, it's one of the. That's the thing. It's just a theory because we can't really prove it, right? Like our physics and our universe basically make it so we can't prove or disprove that theory with current technology.
Yeah, we don't know.
But that's how science works, right? Is you create a theory and then you either prove or disprove that theory.
Yeah.
And even when you prove the theory, it's still a theory. It's not like it graduates from a theory to fact. It just becomes the prevailing theory.
Right.
That's why I always think it's funny when people are like, "Oh, it's just a theory, man. It's not true." No, it's the prevailing theory. It means that like 95% of the scientific geniuses on this planet that have done all the math that you wouldn't understand all came to the same conclusion.
Right, because
that's a big deal.
There's some stuff we can't really truly objectively confirm because we can't get outside the system.
Yeah, if you want to know like how accurate our theories have been, like, and just over the last 100 years, it's like we literally thought if you look, there's this thing called the standard model, right? It's basically all physics is based on the standard model of our universe, and it accounts for gravity, it accounts for spatial position. I mean, there's all kinds of crap in it that can basically explain everything so that you can use this to compute basically any kind of matter moving through the universe. And there's one thing it didn't do. Like, for some reason with light, it didn't work. It works with every other elementary particle that we've seen. It just does not work with photons. Photons is like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Like, why the hell is it, why are these photons acting different than everything else? And it's because we thought that they didn't have any weight, but we're like, but they're acting like they have weight. Like, if they were completely weightless, they would move at an infinite speed. They wouldn't have they would not be speed restricted. So there was mass to light, and we're like, oh, well, if a Higgs boson, because I guess this Higgs guy was the one that came up with the theory, they're like, well, what if there's a particle that exists, but it exists for such an infinitesimal small piece of time, every time it comes into existence, you just can't observe it. And then they're like, well, why don't we just build a 17-mile fucking track in a circle for like $8 billion, in Switzerland or whatever. And they literally built that entire thing primarily to find this one thing.
Oh, yeah. And it was to prove like one of the most fundamental, like,
yeah, because I guess what happened is
universe.
Like, if they didn't find this, that meant that there was a problem with the standard model. They said if they didn't find the Higgs boson, they have to figure out what the hell's going on, because there's something wrong with that, and it doesn't work the way we thought it did. It works for most things, but it doesn't work for everything. But when they found the Higgs boson, they're like, holy shit, we were right. Like, our standard model of the universe that we came up with is accurate. Like, it's testable over and over again. And light now makes sense. So it's like, that's pretty big, right? That's pretty big when like one dude just comes up with a theory like a long time ago.
It can't have been, that can't be his real name.
His real name is Peter. Hey, what's up?
What's up, Pete? That's too basic of an. There's no Peter Higgs.
Yeah, yo, Pete, how's light work? Hey, I'll tell you.
I don't know. That's totally it. That is totally it, though. That's so weird. That's funny. You would have thought it'd be something like Gregor or something.
Yeah, Gregor or
no, man, he's just old Petey Higgs, man, the British theoretical physicist. Man.
Yeah, it's not even a German name. Come on,
he's
bro.
still alive, even. That's pretty rad to see your theories like be proven. That's super rad.
MD Hofsey said CERN could have built it in Texas, but the funding was canceled. Well, I'm glad they didn't build it in Texas, because it almost lit the Earth on fire with micro black holes.
Like, come on. There's no way Texas's power grid could have handled those CERN thing. Come on.
Yeah, it wasn't just money.
Large Hadron Collider. Where's our collider? I know there's a USA collider.
Yeah. You know why they didn't build it in Texas? They didn't build it in Texas because they would have to send out an email to every single resident and tell them to turn off all their lights and not use the microwave or dryer while they're conducting experiments.
You got to turn your AC off for 30 minutes while we run this.
Yeah, hey guys, at 9:30 a.m. we're gonna run for 7 minutes, and if you turn on the lights, we have to restart the experiment. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, MPS is right. We were misspeaking. CERN is the group that is running the Large Hadron Collider. That's we got a little mixed up.
CERN's been around for a long time. Institution?
CERN,
they're like a group of scientists, right? Like
it's the big international genius club.
I know they've been around for a long time, aren't they? I think CERN also is involved in like anything that's like particle physics. They're involved in.
Yeah, I mean, there's talk like the early implementations of what eventually became the internet were really started there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Fusion's looking pretty promising now, though.
Not CERN. We were misspeaking. It's the Large Hadron Collider. That's what was built, the big 17 loop and all that stuff. And there is a US particle collider. And the one I think that you were thinking of, though, in Texas, it was our own, the superconducting super collider.
Yeah, there's circular. There's circular particle acceleration, then there's linear particle accelerators. So we have one of those that goes like 11 miles or something like that. I think it is. It's like not 11 miles. It's not even that. It's a couple of kilometers, but it's in a straight line. It's like perfectly straight, and they even elevate it. Like the curvature of the Earth affects it. So as it goes down, it's like flat with the Earth, and as it goes out, they build up more and more of a berm under it because it's perfectly flat. Leaning against the Earth's surface, because if it had any curvature to it, it wouldn't work. It has to be like perfectly straight.
We've also got the Brookhaven Relativistic Heavy Ion Collider, but it says it will shut down in 2024 to make room for the new machine, which should be operational by 2030.
Yeah, I know the loop ones, like we have like the one that CERN runs, the Large Hadron Collider. The reason that it's like in a circle is because they make multiple trips around the track. to accelerate the
It's
particles.
got to spin up.
Yeah, and it's like you can't do that with a linear accelerator. Like you have to be able to run it in a circle, and it uses a tremendous amount of power, and it uses an obnoxious amount of liquid helium, which is becoming a rare element. Like, I mean, it's an expensive boy to run, but and the collector is huge. The sensor,
Lab,
the sensor that all these particles shoot through, because the whole idea it's trying to do, as far as I understand it, I'm no like pro on it, but as I understand it, the particle accelerator's job is to accelerate particles in either direction of a certain element and then smash them together at near the speed of light to basically cause little microfusion events and stuff and create new elements that may even only exist for like fractions of a millisecond. Or particles, I should say, not elements, but particles, different arrangements of atoms.
Man, they're breaking stuff.
Yeah, and
smashing gold atoms together and stuff.
It's like so sensitive that it can actually like detect something that only exists for like trillionths of a second. Like it's that sensitive. The frame rate on it is ridiculous. So, and then I guess when these particles collide too, they put off energy in the form of like these other particles, and then those can actually go out in the collector. So the collector can actually like go, oh, we know what particle was made at that point because of all the data that was recorded from the shit that shot off of it. It's like, it's really weird. It's like the big brains came up with that. Yeah, exactly. It's like, that is a very big brain instrument. And, but I just thought it was cool that like on a theory, the scientific community agreed on this theory so much that this Higgs boson existed that they were willing to bet the farm on it to do it. Now, this thing can do other particle stuff. Like I think they actually just added a new detector to it because they're trying to search for something else now. That's a big deal.
Okay.
But the whole thing was built to do the one thing. Like like I know it has to like earn its keep, but now it's like crazy, man. It's crazy.
They've added a lot of other like observation points and stuff for different experiments.
Yeah, it's collected a lot of data.
Super cool, man.
Then they have
has there been any weirdness since what was it? I think they did another massive experiment on what was it, July 5th or something, or 12th or something like that.
It destroyed the other universe and kicked us over to the next multiverse over.
Nice, because I know they were cranking it up to like they were the most energy output yet, their biggest thing.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with science is the reason it's always a theory is because you always have a small group of science. It's usually a small group. Sometimes it can be like 50-50, but it's usually a small group that like thinks like the worst case scenario that the rest don't agree with. Like when we were testing nuclear weapons, there was like, I think it was like 10% of the scientists that were involved, even the ones that we had from afar, agreed that it was probably going to burn the atmosphere. Like this fission event was going to be so hot that it would literally ignite, because everything has an ignition temperature, right? That it would literally ignite the elements in the atmosphere, and the oxygen would provide the oxidation for and it would just burn the whole atmosphere and turn us into a star.
That's what they thought about the nuclear bombs too.
Yep.
Like they're like, no, you can't test these things.
That's what I was talking about, is the nuclear bombs. They literally thought that by testing, what was it called? The Gadget, the first nuclear detonation that was ever done out in the desert in Nevada. They literally like 10% of the scientists were like, yeah, this is going to light the atmosphere on fire and turn the whole planet into a star. And the other 90% were like, nah, that isn't going to happen. Like, because of a whole slew of events they disagreed on. But then when they did it, it was like the explosion was it twice the yield they were expecting? So like their estimations on how powerful the device would be were wrong. Like the 10% were kind of right that it was bigger than what they computed, but it didn't turn the Earth into a fireball. And the other ones weren't really correct because the yield was much higher than they expected. Same thing happened with Trinity. I think Trinity was more than double what they were expecting. I think Trinity was supposed to be like a 5 megaton or something, turned out being like a 15 megaton or something, something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was way, way, way bigger. And that's why it irradiated all the other adjacent atolls. The Trinity test, bad news. Like that was like Castle Bravo. Damn, dude. We killed a lot of people. I guess, what do they say? You have to break a few eggs or whatever. Yeah, we broke a lot of our eggs to make that happen.
Blow up some stuff.
We were gonna blow shit up. And the thing is, like back then, it was really, really difficult. We only had enough fissionable material after like years. We only had enough fissionable material to build 2 bombs. One plutonium bomb that was like a what was it, thermonuclear or whatever, and then the other one was a gun or no, what was they call it? Compression wave, and a uranium sphere that's impregnated with something, basically forces the compression in and bombards it with neutrons at the same time. Anyways, one was way bigger than the other, right? The plutonium bomb had a higher yield, but the other one was way lighter. Like the other one could have been deployed from a much smaller aircraft. So, but those were kilotons back then. Like we only had enough to make a bomb that was like 11 kilotons. It's like we have a single Trident missile on a submarine that can best that. Like one missile and go 4,000 miles and deliver something that's more a bigger explosion than Hiroshima or Nagasaki. That's crazy to think. And we have stuff that can do a 100-fold magnitude bigger. You know, like not kilotons, megatons. I think we have like, what is it? I think Russia has they claim that they still have the star bomb. I don't think they did. They had to tear it apart and buy food with it. But yeah, they have the capability of up to 100 megatons, and they demonstrated 50 megatons. They said that they reduced the yield, right? And we saw what happened with that test. And the United States, I think, stands on our largest nuclear weapon ever created was estimated at 30 megaton, but it was never deployed.
It's a lot.
So, I mean, that's a lot. That's like you drop that in downtown Seattle or whatever, and it's like Seattle's gone. Seattle's basically vaporized, and all the surrounding territories for like the next 13 miles are like deadly amounts of radiation. And then the wind kicks in and like takes out everybody else. Really sucks.
That's right.
No, I would rather go by the internet robot taking us out than the nuclear option. Like I'd rather just have it go the Wall-E route.
I would.
Yeah. Jack Andrew, thank you for the $5 super chat. He said, "This is how the world ends, not with a bang, but with a Twitter rant Twitter rant and thunderous applause." Okay, yeah. T.S. Eliot is now raising me from the dead to kill me, dude. Like, I don't know, man. I really think that that's our biggest threat now. And I've had some people tell me, "Oh man, that's so alarmist of you," but it's like being like on social media with so many people following me and interacting with them for so long and like so many different forums across so many platforms. It's like it's become more and more alarmist. It's become more and more people crave attention a lot more, right? Like there's a lot more people that are involved that don't want to just watch, they want to participate. And you start to have this situation where it's like everybody wants to be noticed and they'll do anything to do it. Yeah. And that's why you see these challenges. That's why you see kids like getting hurt and killed and killing each other for like clout on TikTok. And it's getting to the point now where it's like the internet has conditioned us, especially kids that grew up with the internet, right? It's basically conditioned us to just always have this device with it that we're always plugged into and we're always doing. It's like we can't live without it. Like we're literally addicted to it, like cocaine. And companies have capitalized on that. They're like, everything is to the internet. Screw selling stuff, ad revenue. That's where it's at, you know? Like, don't sell stuff. That doesn't make money anymore, dummy. Like, everything's got to be ads. Like, at some point in the future, you're going to get a car. You're going to go buy a Tesla. And they're going to be like, okay, do you want to buy the $20,000 Tesla? Or will you be getting the $5,000 Tesla with ad enabled? And you're going to be like driving down the road with autopilot. And it's just going to be playing ads up on the screen and stuff in the back to your kids. Like, hey, are your parents in the front seat loaded? They probably are because they can afford this car. Tell them you want this toy. You know, it's like, I just feel like we're heading in that direction where it's like we are literally conditioning ourselves every single day to crave things that we normally probably wouldn't crave. Like the way it's delivered to us and the time it's
kind of taps like the FOMO kind of thing. Yeah, 100%. I can see it.
It's crazy, man. And I think, and I feel like it's really going in that direction because now you watch like all your favorite YouTubers. Like, and I noticed this too, this trend across even ones I really love. It's like, oh, today's sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. We play Raid Shadow Legends as free. We love it. We play it all the time. And you should too. Use our code down below and you'll get like some extra shit that we'll be able to see that'll make us happier that you're playing the game. And it's totally free. And then you install the game, you put in the code, or you play for like 4 hours, and you're heavily invested into it now because you're like, oh, the score's going up, score's going up. It's cookie clicker. All these games are cookie clicker. And it's like, okay,
in a big way.
But you get to a point where it's like, oh God, everybody else is making more cookies than you. Your friend that just joined, he spent $1 and he's making more cookies than you. Do you want to spend $1 and make more cookies than him? And then you're like, yes. And it's like for $10, you can whip the shit out of everybody at your school. Do you want to do that? And it's like, that's where these games are going. They're all manufactured. Like I found this out, like 10 of the games that are being advertised right now actively by YouTubers are all from the same company. That's the child company of a company that makes gambling devices for casinos.
Yeah.
I looked it up. I tweeted about it. I have all the screenshots that show the chain of custody. So all of those games were created by a company that specializes in separating people from their money through gambling addictions. And so, and they're all the same game. If you look at them like Legions and Raid Shadow Legends and Star Trek, whatever, all of these things, they're all being endorsed by these huge celebrities and stuff now. They're all effectively the same engine, just reskinned. Like even the pop-ups for the rewards look the same between them. Like they just skin like the edges and stuff, but the size and the placement of the buttons, they're all using like the same engine over and over and over again. To just produce a reskinned game. It's like, oh, is it the future? Is it Nordic times? Like anything that could relate to you in some way. Oh, you want to do race cars? Okay, Fast and the Furious Online. It's like there's a game for that. But the thing is, they're not really games. They're not games of skill. They're just pay to win. That's all it is. It's like you and your friend have slot machines, and whoever puts in more money has the better chance to win. But they're losing more money also, and you don't look at that because it's not a part of the score. I think they should pass a law that says all those games should have like a little meter that everybody else can see in the game that says how much money you've spent. So like when you see the guy in first place, you're like, oh, he spent $22,000 to get there. Like obviously, I'm not going to do that. Instead of going, man, I need to play more.
Yeah.
That's
like there's one guy spent like $100,000 in Diablo Immortal, like the mobile one.
I saw that. Yep.
And now or I'm sure this may have changed by now, but he's too powerful. Like he can't get any PvP matches or whatever because his power level is too high or whatever it is. He just can't be matched with anybody because he spent too much money.
Yeah, wait, somebody in chat said my YouTube short kind of went viral. Dude, I looked at it. It had like no views the other day.
Oh, maybe
I don't know. Let's go look. Did it? Okay, content creators need to stop advertising. I don't know.
Click on you. Where do
it's
I
only
find
got 11,000 views. That's not viral by any stretch of the imagination.
Pretty good. That's pretty good, man. It's better. It's better than some.
Yeah, I even disabled monetization on it, which is probably why it didn't get many views. I probably should have enabled that actually. Here, I'm gonna turn that on because okay, wait, inappropriate language, adult content. Okay, no discussion, no, not sexual experiences, exposed breasts or nudity. I don't have any of that. What are you talking about? Here, no, stop. See more exposed. Wait, what do I gotta click on to make it like just let me do it? Hold on here, abbreviated sense. Okay, save for ads. Hold on here, save for ads. I'm just clicking the buttons for I didn't say anything in the video that violates TOS. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not really safe for ads, but no. I mean, it doesn't violate any of their TOS rules. None of the rules say you can't talk about like companies doing shitty things.
Yeah.
So here, let me do shocking content. No. None. Whatever. I'll just submit. None of the above. I'm just gonna click none of the above because I don't think it's none of the above. There we go. Submit. Done. There we go. It's now submitted for monetization. We'll see what happens. Now watch. I'm going to track this because it's gotten 11,000 views over 4 days, 5 days with no monetization. I'm going to see if there's a spike in views now that it's monetized. Because one thing I've seen with YouTube is if you monetize a video, it gets way more SEO. Because of course that makes sense logically as a company because you're like, I lose money by showing this content and not recoup. Right. You don't get any money back. But if it is monetized, then you get a cut of it. So it's like, of course they're going to push you. No, I'd love to make a more in-depth video on that because of course, I had to limit it because it was a short to like 60 seconds, but I would love to go deep into that topic. That'd be a video that I'd be willing to upload because I am really getting sick of this shit because I understand people, don't get me wrong. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard spot because like I understand content creators need to make money. I understand they have to take sponsorships. Sponsorships are an important part of making a living on here. I understand it. Like, I'm not trying to say nobody should get sponsorships. But what's pissing me off is the most predatory companies that do the most damage and give no value are the ones that pay the top prices. So the YouTubers, when they look at the pricing sheet, which they do, we all get a pricing sheet that's like, here's the ones that pay the most for a 30-second ad. Here's the one that pays the least for it. And they always pick the one at the top if there's still availability. And then if there isn't, they go down to the next one. If there isn't, they go to the next one. But everybody jumps on like the Raid Shadow Legends shit because they pay like $8,000 to $11,000 when every other company's paying up to $5,000, like $2,000 to $5,000. So wouldn't you rather make an extra $3,000 to $5,000 in that same 30 seconds, essentially advertising something you don't use anyways? And so that's why all the content creators jump on it. They don't do any research on it. They don't even know what the hell they're advertising. They just read the script, right? I mean, the company, that's why every one of them is the same. If you watch like every video, it's like, oh, play Raid Shadow Legends to get your legends and use my code to get 3 gold and the special hero. And oh my God, join the legends and fight. And it's like, they're just reading catchphrases and shit. It's provided. It's a script provided. And they say that you can take some creative license with it, but you have to cover all the bullet points in order. But they'll pay you like 8 to 10 grand. So everybody does it. Todd said like NordVPN lies off their ass in their marketing. I've used NordVPN for 4 years. I absolutely love their service, but they're overpriced and their marketing is fucking stupid. Like where they say, oh, you only got 30 minutes or whatever left to buy this, and you just refresh the browser. Although they did fix that. Now it has a countdown that goes to 0, and then after a couple of minutes, it just goes back to 9 minutes again. So I don't like their marketing. I don't like how they do that, but the service is good. It's a little overpriced, but it's good. But yeah, I don't like the predatory marketing shit. I really don't. Drives me fucking nuts. And that's why I don't sign contracts. I don't have a contract with NordVPN, so I can say whatever the fuck I want about them. If you have a contract with NordVPN, you agree that you can't say anything negative about them, You can't. If they pay you upfront because you have that option, they'll pay you like $4,000 or $5,000 to advertise their shit in your videos. But I was like, no, I'll tell you what, just give me an affiliate link and I'll tell people they can get it. If they don't like it, they can cancel it. And I can be honest. I can say I don't like their marketing. I can say I don't like how much they cost. Like they should be cheaper for what they give compared to some other VPNs, but they do have the double VPN feature. I have used them for 4 years and have had like no downtime through them, and I get good bandwidth through them, and I get very minimal lag with their what is it, the fucking Nord links, which is basically just the new WireGuard VPN stuff. But it works good, so that's why I recommend it. But I also tell people like, dude, if you don't like it, like don't fucking keep it, like return it, go cancel it. You know, that I think that's honestly what you should do. Actually, the best NordVPN ad I've ever seen is the Internet Historian. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
Internet Historian is the only person that I think he found a way to actually do NordVPN ads where he gets paid the grip shit of money up front with the contract, but doesn't somehow break the contract because he agrees. He talks to him up front and says, listen, everybody knows me as a shock channel. Everybody knows me as talking shit. So it wouldn't, if I just did a regular commercial, nobody would be receptive. What if I just do a commercial where I basically just low key shit on your service the entire time and do horrible fucking acts of violence? And at the end, basically say, go get NordVPN. And so all of his ads for NordVPN are absolutely hilarious. Like, and you can tell he puts a lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when Jay's 2 Cents used to do the World of Warcraft, World of Warships.
Oh,
he do the ads where he like jump through the window with the captain's hat on and shit. Like he actually put some effort into those. You know what I mean? And so the companies kept coming back, but you could tell from like the one thing about that is Jay actually does play that game, which is very different than what these other guys are doing. None of the people you're watching, they're like, play Raid Shadow Legends. I play it every day, man. I play it while I'm jerking off and I'm on the toilet. They've never even fucking installed it on their phone. Like the B-roll is probably green screened onto the shit. No, but seriously. And the other thing they don't tell you, and I know this for a fact because I've been offered it with World of Warships. They give you an account with like all 100,000 upgrades, all ships, everything maxed out. They just give that to you, an account. So that you can go into the game and be like, in your B-roll, be like, look how powerful I am. I've been playing this for years, and look at my level and stuff. They give you an account so your B-roll looks like you've been playing it forever, even though you just loaded the game and logged in for the first time.
No, they probably give you those clips.
No, they want you to use your own clips. They want people to believe you actually play it, even though you don't. Hey, can you take over for a second? I got to run downstairs and do the old, 42-year-old bladder thing. I'll be right back. All right, take it down. Don't talk too much shit about me while I'm gone.
That's nothing. That's all we do. What's up? Quick, hurry. What are we going to talk about while he's gone? Hurry. I don't even know what the topics are today. James Webb, Big Bang, Plex and Last Pass hacked, Starlink V2, Russia sending Americans to ISS. Yeah. I like, geez, I fixed it. Ed, though, it gets boring. Yeah. Went to see about a girl today. Francis Mancy, very spicy. Cool. Good for you, man. That's pretty cool. Do we ever have music playing during the stream? Like I hear nothing when I don't speak or if nothing is happening, there's nothing happening. Like I don't hear anything. It's really weird. Linus made sense off memeing his own bad takes. Yes. Man, it just, I don't know what it is. I know I've said this before, but I don't know what it is about Linus. It just bugs me. I don't. It's just, I don't know. Nothing personal. Like I don't really know the guy, but just like all the stuff that I end up bumping into just rubs me weird. Stray video game is sick. That does look pretty fun. That it looks like very soothing, real cool, and I like the premise. It seems really neat. Finally putting a cosmonaut on the dragon. Oh, neat. That's pretty cool. No, I don't care. It just is weird. I don't know. I don't want to talk shit about Linus because like it's so far. It's like so far outside my circles. Like I shouldn't even put as much energy as I do into it. It just came up again with the whole like weird warranty thing. Like and then all the gibberish. It's just weird. You think AI will eventually make games for us? I mean, I would argue that AI already kind of does. If you want, depending on the angle you want to take in your definition of AI, because companies and stuff are going to use predictive models to determine, like, whether or not they should make a sequel to a game, or if proposals and stuff make sense as far as like money and sentiment and market, you know, sentiment. I guess that's just the best way of putting it. So in a sense, they kind of at least guide. I'm sure there are AI models and things to guide a lot of game making decisions. That's why you see these smaller studios will come out with something interesting and different and new, and it blows up and it's really cool. But then as soon as they get bought by Activision or one of these other big publishers or whatever, it's look, just look at Blizzard after they got acquired by Activision. I think that's a perfect example. Blizzard, they were dumping way too much, in my opinion, way too much time and effort into World of Warcraft, and still are. But that's because of Activision's influence, and they want Activision doesn't want single player games; they want games as a service. So that's why World of Warcraft has 45 expansions and blah blah blah. And they keep trying to beat that dead cow until it's not going to spit out coins anymore. But
Blizzard, what are you talking about?
There was a question of, do you think AI will eventually make games for us? And I was arguing
it could with all the engines.
Well, I was arguing too that in a way that there is probably some influence there anyway with different predictive models and things for market sentiment and whether or not a game will perform based on certain criteria and things like that, whether or not they want to make a sequel and blah 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 blah. So it depends. I was it kind of depends on what you want to define as AI. But if you mean if you mean I'm gonna push a button that says make me a game and it goes and then suddenly there's a Pokemon or something, I don't think we're there yet, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, at some point we will reach that level, but we're not there yet. I mean, the best you could hope for now is just having a game that's a general engine with general rules, and then allow the AI basically just to connect and roll the rules and interconnect them, and then you'd have a game, but it wouldn't necessarily be a good one.
Yeah, that's for sure. It wouldn't be a very good game. But look at things like what is it? AI Dungeon?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a little bit more of a text adventure, I guess, and it's not that good. It's neat, but
AI
I wish it had more
elements though. What's that game where you fly planet to planet or whatever?
Sure, No Man's Sky.
Yeah, No Man's Sky. Yeah. It's it started out as a bucket of crap, but now it actually works great.
Yeah.
It's all procedurally generated.
I can see where we're at a point now where it's more an assistant, in the same way that Roto Brush 2 in what is it, After Effects, right? Or the Adobe Sensei in general, right? You can background replacement and that sort of a thing, all those content aware fill kind of a thing.
Yep.
We're at a point where it could be very assistive. I don't see why somebody isn't using GPT-3 to generate dialogue. You could just spit out a bunch of NPC dialogue.
Actually, you know what?
Branching choice stuff. I think from that.
Main reason they don't do that is because of just the processing power required. Because even using the cloud to do it, it seems like it's a little bit slow. Even
it wouldn't have to be live. It wouldn't have to be live. You'd use the AI models to generate the dialogue and stuff for you in way less time than it would take a human being to write out a bunch of scripts and stuff.
That makes sense.
In fact, you could
Flight Sim 2020, create the world and stream it, use OpenAI to in real time change the game. That'd be kind of weird.
That would be very difficult.
Hugely intensive.
You could probably do a demo where you're flying around and that's about it. But you could do the whole game design. You could do the whole game design with different AI tools. Your whole branching dialogue or quest system could be done up that way.
Yeah, totally.
The story could be done that way. NPC dialogue could be done with different AI tools. You were just about to say something about the graphics, the art stuff.
The art stuff is blowing my mind right now. I even tried it myself, one of the earlier ones.
Yeah.
I got access because some guy created like a site. He wasn't supposed to. He got limited access to it, and then he created a front end and everybody started sharing it.
Oops.
So I got on there and I was able to get it to do a couple of drawings. Now, if you want to do it, you just pay $10 or whatever and go on a Discord server and type shit in, it does it. But man, I typed a couple things in. I even posted some of the results on Twitter like a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, holy shit, dude. I wrote something in there. I think it was like what, Trump on fire or something. And it actually gave images that were legitimately like him with a frightened face on fire. And I was like, how in the hell does that work? Like, I honestly don't understand it. And then there's another one that does like artwork where it paints. It'll paint you a picture based on what you type in. And that way you don't have those weird transitions and uncanny valley stuff. It looks like art. And I was like, dude, the stuff people were typing in and getting out, it was like something an artist would spend like a month making.
There's tools even built into stuff like Unity right now where like you could take a small sample of like, I don't know, a texture or whatever, and it will interpolate and map it out to like more, right? Like you take like a bit of an example, like one tile, and it'll go and with like, you know, randomness and stuff to make it look legit. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
like
if you
that.
can do a random roll on like an image generator in an RPG or whatever, you could just apply that on top of the image generation.
Yeah.
And always get something new. It's like character generator, right? Character generator would be a great example of that.
Sure.
Nvidia's tech. It's like you can create a person that looks absolutely lifelike that doesn't exist in real life.
Look at some of the newer games that are coming out. Like I was just watching the gameplay trailer for Skull and Bones, and like that's very clearly they're probably still using Unity 4, just because to port over to 5 would have been outrageous at that point in development. But the models and the face work, there's still funny business with the mouth, of course, because you got to animate that kind of stuff pretty well. But man, the way that rigging and stuff is working nowadays, it's you can have one person basically just do the mouth work, and that's enough. And it looks really good. It looks really, really good. Man, I'm playing that's a whole nother thing. But I'm playing the Spider-Man remaster on PC, right? Gorgeous. It's really the first game I've played so far that has put my 3080 Ti to its like paces.
I've been wanting to try it because
gorgeous.
that game looks like the detail level from afar and up close is insane.
It's great. It's amazing.
I've only watched videos. I haven't played it myself, but it's like the fluidity of Spider-Man moving around and all the choices it's making so that you can like easily control him through the city. I was like, dude, there's like whoever came up with the control model in that is a genius.
I've heard that it's very similar to, I think it was the PlayStation 2 Spider-Man game. The satisfaction in the swinging and stuff. 30, 80, 11 gig
versus 30.
10 or 12. 3080s came in a 10 or a 12 gig version.
I don't know which one I have.
If I recall correctly, I'm open to being corrected. I'm very.
I thought it was 11. Let me check real quick.
No, that's the 1080 Ti. The 1080 Ti had 11.
Oh,
but
really?
The 3080 is 10 or 12. I'm like
I have 90%. You're right. I have 10 gig. I just looked it up.
And then I have a Ti, which I think is still 10 gigs. I'm not sure. Honestly, man, it's not going to make much difference. It really isn't.
Well, you got the 40 series coming here.
If you got the 12 gig one, that might make a little bit of a difference. Depending on what you're doing with it. As far as video games, probably not much. The extra 2 gigabytes isn't going to be. The 3080 Ti has 12. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that because I just got a good deal and I just bought it. Yeah, man, because unless you need it for something like, you know, you're doing 3D modeling and things like that, or, you know, some sort of like simulation stuff, I don't think the extra 2 gigabytes is really going to make that big a difference in video games and things like that.
Yeah, unless you're doing like max textures in like Flight Sim 2020 or Forza Motorsport.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a good frame rate anyways.
Your big draw distance, if you're going to try and throw the draw distance out as far as you can and max out your graphics, you know, all the stuff, and try and 4K uber noobered ultra everything, then the 12 is going to make a difference. But man, I'm playing this fucking Spider-Man game. I'm like, maybe it says I'm like 15% into the thing, right? And I'm trying to get to, and maybe somebody in the chat has a fix, knows about this. I don't know. Trying to get to the next story mission. And And as I get close to the place I'm trying to get to, I fall through the world. Like I can't swing onto anything. I get to a certain point, I can't, and he won't grab onto anything, and then he just nose dives through the world.
That shit happened in Halo for me too. The new Halo
every
Eternal
time.
or whatever.
And I reloaded the checkpoint, the autosave. I reloaded the manual save that I had like from the last time I was playing. Nothing. I think I have to start over.
They don't know that happened in Halo. I spent 45 minutes going through the first chapter of the game.
No idea.
And I'm at the very end where there's a checkpoint. All you have to do, you'll know if you played it. You're in space and you just have to jump across like these little like floaty rocks in space using your tether and like connecting to stuff and swinging. And then you go into the back of the jet, whatever the hell it's called. I can't remember anything these days. I'm sold. And then it ends the mission once you're in the back. So what I did is I jumped at it and I landed on it and I slipped off the edge and I fell, and you're supposed to die. You're supposed to fall and die. And then it goes back to, a couple hundred feet and you start again. But instead what happens is I fall and fall and fall and fall and fall and fall. And then before I die, I land on an asset that's just out in the middle of nowhere that they just did for like a distant object to make it look cool.
Sure.
And now my tether can't reach anything. So I'm just stuck on this forever. So
I'm
like, you know what? I got to commit suicide because I tried everything. I sat there for like 20 minutes getting frustrated trying to get off this thing. Oh, can I do this? Can I rocket jump? No, I was nowhere near anything. So I finally said, okay, I got to kill myself. So I walked off the rock. Well, I didn't know that the game like auto saves wherever you last were and starts there. So I like die and it goes back every single time I'm back on the rock. Yep. And I was like, no, I was like, how do I go back to like an earlier save? And I couldn't. And then somebody told me, like, after I got so frustrated, they're like, oh, dude, if you go back 3 times and you just keep going back, it'll eventually go back to the previous one.
Like, die.
But there's no, not die. You have to like literally like just stop it right there and say, go back to save. Stop it right there. Go back to save. And if you do it a couple times, the game goes, oh, okay, something must have gone wrong. Let's let him go back further. I didn't know that. And there was nothing on the screen that told me that. So I tried like 2 or 3 times and just gave up and started over and had to redo the whole first like 45 minutes over again. And I was like, I hate that. I hate that when you're playing a story game and you have to do it all over again. Then it's like, it ruins it takes all the fun out of it.
Well, it does. It did pop into my head. Well, then I'm like, well, if I'm going to start over, maybe I should stream it a little bit.
You should, dude. I'd watch it. I'd watch you stream some Spider-Man.
I think it would be pretty cool. It's a great game. And I back when it came out, I was this close to buying a PlayStation 4, I think is what it originally came out for. Just to play Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Final Fantasy VII. But I'm so glad that Sony is slowly putting out their games, some of their bigger games on PC.
Yeah, I wonder. I keep hearing rumors that Gran Turismo might come to PC at some point.
Oh, that'd be neat.
The new one, which would be cool if it did. The only thing is, like, God, even Gran Turismo did the same thing that a lot of companies are doing, where it's like all add-ons. Like you buy the game, and it's like you have a couple cars, and then every other car costs money. But the weird thing is, like, the cars cost in the old game they were like $4, and the new game they're like $30, $40, $50. Some of them are $100 cash to buy a fucking in-game car. And it's like, now what is this, DCS World or something? Like, right. It's just at that point, it's like, dude, okay, I'm not gonna buy a console game that I'm gonna dump $1,000 into so I have like half the cars. So that's why I like Forza. Is like Forza, you can buy car packs, but it's like the vast majority of the cars you can just earn or get through the game, and even some of the cars in the pack you can get through the game by doing certain things. So it makes things attainable for the most part that you don't have to blow money on. But when I heard that's what killed Gran Turismo. That's why you don't hear anybody talking about it anymore. The new Gran Turismo, the control is epic. My buddy Adam on his simulator, he said the force feedback is fantastic. The driving and the sensation of speed is it's realistic, not arcadey like a lot of games. And he's like, it's fantastic. But what kills it is just all the microtransactions have just driven everybody away. They're all going back to like iRacing and stuff and going back to older platforms. And it's like, it's just unfortunate because it's such a masterpiece of an engine, but it just gets wasted on that, like, because they got greedy. So I hope at some point they because they can change anything at any time, right? They could release an update and say, okay, fine, our car library now everything's $1, and we're going to give you 75% of the cars for free, and then people might come flooding back, but it might be too little, too late. Hey, we should probably talk about this one. This is a big one.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
This should have actually been the first. Yeah, this should have been the first topic on the show because I just went and looked up the Plex hack. Or sorry, not the Plex. The Plex hack. Fuck that. Whatever. It's bad, but it's not super bad.
I don't see what the big deal is about Plex getting hacked. I mean, kind of, because like they have payment stuff, right? Like I get there's some danger there, but I don't feel like it's as bad as LastPass. Like that's whack.
A big one. When I saw that, I was like, okay, that's probably like they leaked a couple accounts and the passwords are still encrypted. Nope.
That's like your thing. That's your thing, is to keep passwords safe. That's your entire purpose for being, and you get hacked.
That's bad. So this just happened, guys. This is yesterday, reported at 9:48 a.m. So I can't believe I'm just hearing about this today.
Sweet,
This is how
fanciful Moses.
So LastPass, a password
Which means
manager
this actually happened months ago. If we're hearing about it now,
it's
it must have happened, a long time.
And to be fair,
months ago.
Full disclosure, I do use LastPass, so this does concern me greatly. However, I do also have two-factor authentication on everything that matters. And I recommend you do the same because that's the only thing that'll protect you when there's a password leak like this is if you have two-factor on everything and don't use the same password on anything. Okay, so LastPass, password manager used by more than 33 million people around the world, said a hacker recently stole source code and proprietary information after breaking into its system. And here's the thing, they always say they know what was taken, but there's no way for them to truly know what was taken.
I suppose not, unless because it's not like you're deleting stuff behind you, like, oh, I'm gonna take this and then it's gone.
Yeah, and the thing is if they're accessing data,
they can look at logs.
If they're hacking in and they're gaining access to something, even if the log logs them, it's gonna appear as like a person internal to the company doing their job and regularly accessing something. Otherwise, intrusion detection would kick them out and they'd be done. Like they would, if they're there and actively stealing data and purchasing, there is no way to really know. You can only just make guesses based on where they've been in logs. Man.
So it looks like they got access to the developer environment through a single compromised developer's account.
It's all it takes, man. The weakest link. That's what I tell everybody. Like Microsoft, do you really think after that SolarWinds attack that there isn't 1,000 other backdoors installed?
Oh, right.
Like if you gained access to a system like the internal corporate network of Microsoft, would you really not make it your priority to basically just put 1,000 more backdoors in place? Like, of course you would. Like that, any hacker that would undertake anything like that would do that.
I guess it was only just a couple weeks.
Yeah. So I don't think they'll ever be secure again. I don't think anything Microsoft can do can guarantee security because they can't cut off the outside network because most of their employees work remotely. So they have to have remote terminal access. So they're vulnerable. They're literally at the mercy of these attackers. And I'm sure at some point they'll do something, lock everybody out of their computer, delete their fucking online database and their live accounts and hold them ransomware. Yeah. So it'll happen at some point. Like they're just waiting for the right time to strike and the right person to pay them. But it says right here, it says an investigation determined that the unauthorized party cracked into its developer environment, which is the software that the employee used to build and maintain the LastPass product. The perpetrators were able to gain access through a single compromised developer account. But this means, keep in mind, if they have access to the development environment, that also means that they have access to the source depot, which means that they could have pulled the entire source for LastPass, including the code that generates the random passwords. And if they know how that code works that generates the random passwords, they could, in theory, regenerate old passwords.
Could, maybe. It depends on like how compartmentalized they are. Like I imagine LastPass is a fairly robust and complex system. So I don't think one developer is going to be able to have access to everything, right? Like you're going to work on your piece of the puzzle. You're going to have access to like the Git or whatever, right? Like you're but like,
I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but
any random developer could just get the entire thing. Like that seems,
dude, in Microsoft, if you are a level 57 software development engineer or higher, you have access to the entire source code base, including the games, including Office, including a lot of Xbox. It's stupid.
That's so weird. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, no, you're a software developer. You're going to work on your piece of the puzzle, and maybe be able to see what your thing needs to talk to.
Right? You'd think you'd only be able to see your features, and that's it. But no, you have full unrestricted access to the source code.
I mean, Microsoft's whack, but
dude, you can literally this is how open it is. Me as a software development engineer that just got my shiny new badge after 8 months being a contractor. I sign, I get my full-time account and now I have access to Source Depot, and it says, okay, what projects do you want to sync? And I'm like, Windows and not Turn 10 Studios. Back then it was something else, but I sunk Asheron's Call, and it's like, okay, syncing. And it sunk the entire source code of Asheron's Call and Windows to my box. And not only that, I actually went into the Windows source code and ran the time build script, which is the Perl script that builds Windows, on my own box overnight, and came back the next day and had my own build of Windows that was built on my computer using all of the assets I just sunk. And I was like,
that seems so silly.
Yeah, there was a version I had called, like, on my dev box at work, I ran something that it replaced everything that said Microsoft in the source code with Jerrysoft. So instead of micro, it was Jerrysoft. So you drop out the prompt, be like Jerrysoft, copyright, blah, blah, blah. And I ran that on my dev box for a good 2-3 months, and I had to stop eventually because there was a checksum problem and it wouldn't do Windows updates. So I couldn't get up, I couldn't
That's
get
funny.
the updates to my dev box when I was running this because I got too far out of sync with the main product. So I eventually scrapped it and got back on the main product just because it was becoming a pain in the ass. But no, for the longest time, I had Jerrysoft Windows. I mean, it didn't change the graphics, obviously, but anywhere where it was text and it said Microsoft Windows, it would say Jerrysoft Windows. And I built that on my own box just by running active Perl and timebuild.pl. And I had a build. It was that simple. And so you have to have the whole source code to do that. Not only that, you can't check shit directly into WinMain. Like they do disable write access on WinMain. So you can't, like, that's the main where all the build labs go together, right? You have your feature and then you do work on your feature and then it goes upstream and then they do something called reverse integrations, then forward integrations. So it goes up and it goes down through the tree. But you can actually go in there and change anything in your branch. So I could just open up the kernel and just, like, I don't know, go in there, put a comment that says, like, David Cutler's is a pussy or something. I don't believe that. David Cutler's awesome. Who do I not like? Brian Valentine's a pussy. Just kidding. Never mind. I hope he never sees that. He will though.
It's on Twitter now.
It's on Twitter now. But anyways, basically, if you could put anything in that code, and if it goes through reverse integration, it doesn't trigger a diff that somebody goes and looks at, it will just go through. We had so many times where people were just fucking around on their dev boxes and accidentally checked shit into their local branch, and it became part of the payload that got reverse integrated up to the branch above them. And then they'd be like, "Oh, my bad, I didn't mean to sync that. That was like we were writing some test code and we were fucking with shit, testing a feature locally, and it accidentally made it into the stream and made it all the way up to WinMain before tests started breaking." And they're like, "You broke the build." That was a shameful thing. If you broke the build, they came by your office and put a little sticker on your window that said, "I broke the build. Shame, I broke the build." And then they'd call you out at the Windows infrastructure meeting and bring you up on stage and tell you that you were a shitty employee, never do it again. But yeah, you could do it. There was an infinite trust system. Like, I am genuinely surprised that Microsoft hasn't leaked more source code than it has. Like, with the level of access every employee has and how like angry some of the employees are sometimes, I am surprised that there isn't just like entire copies of like yesterday's build on every fucking platform, IPFS, Usenet, torrent. Like, it just blows my mind. I mean, you can get the source code for like Windows 7, but you can't get the source code for like Windows 10 or Windows 11 as far as I've seen. But that may be different. I haven't looked for it in a long time. But yeah, I was like, dude, no, they give you unprecedented levels of access. Now, if you're Nintendo, no. In Nintendo, it's all compartmentalized. You only get the fucking your own stuff. You're super locked down. But no, in Microsoft, that's why I was laughing when you said that, because I was like, no, dude, it was like, I could not believe the level of access I had. I even downloaded Asheron's Call. I tried to build that, though, and it wouldn't build because they have some build system that they use that has a bunch of external dependencies. So I tried to build it, but no, I had access to the source code. Like, if I could have built it, I could have gone in and changed any of the source code and built my own build of Asheron's Call that had like exploits and shit in it. And a lot of the stuff in Asheron's Call was client side, not server side. Because remember, back then, server was expensive.
Then so much was client side.
Yeah. So all I'd have to do is make my own client that would just connect up to the server, lie about the version number, right? Because when it does the handshake, you could just hard code it to say, "Oh, I'm the regular version that everybody else is." And you could just basically make like the crafting operation take like a millisecond. And just infinitely craft everything, sell it back, buy more stuff, infinitely craft, sell it back. Now, granted, there was a bug in it that you could just do that anyways. So you didn't need a hacked version of Asheron's Call. Yeah, that's a story for another day.
I mean, it sounds like it might not be too bad, but it's something to keep an eye out on.
Definitely keep an eye out, but have two-factor on everything.
Maybe refresh your passwords and stuff in there or something. It's definitely, we may hear more of this in the coming days.
Yeah, it says, oh, wait, hold on here. So, hard to crack auto-generated password. I'm trying to see. Cybersecurity website Bleeping Computer reported that it asked LastPass about the breach 2 weeks ago. Okay, so this has been going on for a while. An analyst at computer security incident response team at cybersecurity company Record Failure said he was impressed with the speedy notification from LastPass. Okay. While 2 weeks might seem like a long time to some, it can take a while for incident response teams to fully assess and report the situation. I can understand that. It will take time to fully determine the extent of any damages that may have been done as a result of the breach. However, for now, it appears not to be client impacting. Okay, well, that's a big statement. LastPass didn't immediately respond to requests for further comments. There was speculation on social media that the hackers may have access to the keys and password vaults after stealing source code for proprietary information. It's unlikely that the stolen code will give the criminals access to the customer's passwords. Yeah, here's the thing. So LastPass, one of the cool things LastPass does, and one of the reasons why I use it, is they don't store any of your passwords. So LastPass is actually
zero knowledge thing, right?
Zero knowledge. They basically store something that's encrypted, and the key that it encrypts it is your username. So like when you log in or whatever and you like put in your username and password, it's like that becomes the encryption hash for everything that they store. So basically when you type in a password and save the password, it's doing the encryption on your side and then storing the encrypted result on their side so they don't have the private key. So basically, for them to be able to get your password, they would have to be able to get your username and password to log in, which that's not stored anywhere. So even if they got the database, because remember they're going by hashes. When you verify username and password, you're not going, oh, did they type in this password? You're hashing it and sending the hash and then seeing if that hash is accurate. And that way they don't have any liability for storing the password anywhere. And because that hash for that password you send up is also the key to decrypt your password, it's like you basically have to log in and type in the password yourself, and then they send you the encrypted information down and you decrypt it client side. So it's a little bit more complex than that, but it's actually a really interesting way to do it. And the whole idea around it is even if they were completely compromised and somebody came in and took all their source code, all their hard drives, took all their servers at gunpoint, theoretically, they still should not be able to break your passwords. And that's a big claim, but that's what they claimed. And they even had, I think they even put like, what is it, $1 million behind it or some shit. They used to have a deal like back in the day. I don't know if they do it anymore, but I know when they first started out, it was like, we will pay $1 million if your account is compromised through a fault of our own or some shit like that, because they're like, we don't store anything. Like there's no way that they could get anything from us that would actually give them the password. They would still have to guess it. They can get your username, but they wouldn't be able to get your password. So I think everybody's probably pretty safe right now, but I'm gonna, just keep an eye on it, guys. Make sure to, this is the thing. God, I still have people messaging me, hey, my email got hacked or my Facebook got hacked. How do I get it back? Like, well, no, I just tell them what they should know. 2-factor authentication. Yeah. Oh, it just sucks having to get on my phone to get it every time. Oh, it's so inconvenient. It's like you are getting fucked right now and having the ultimate inconvenience and may never see your email account again. Just so we're clear, because I want to scare the fuck out of everybody. If they get your email account, they've got everything. The email account is the same as your main city. If they get your email account and they change the password and lock you out of it, they can go through and parse the emails for every single site you've ever created an account on. And not only that, they can go to those sites and say, oh, I forgot my password. And they can use a bot to do it. And what it'll do, it'll send an email saying, oh, you want to reset your password? Oh, click here. Okay, yeah, I'd like to reset my password. What's the new password you'd like to enter? So they can take over everything if you don't have 2-factor authentication. Yeah. So beware, especially if you use the same password on everything, you will get hacked. It's not a matter of time. It's not how complex either.
A lot of my things too use I use the Google Authenticator thing instead of SMS.
There's one thing I don't like about that. It is more secure. I will say right now, the Google Authenticator, any of the authenticators, the rolling
because like Microsoft's got a few of them. Yeah,
they're super duper secure. Like they're way more secure than 2-factor. But the reason why I like 2-factor is because 2 times now I have actually had my phone remotely wiped because of some bullshit, or I went and bought a new phone and they said they restored the backup, but they didn't from iCloud. I get home, my iCloud account's wiped with my brand new phone sitting there that I thought was sunk with all my shit, and I reinstall it and it lost all the keys because they're all stored locally. So, and you can't just add them. You can't just say, oh, add back my Google account. And here's the thing to get the rolling code. It's like, once that's in there, you can't back it up. Like you can get backup keys from the service that you write down when you first create it. But if you don't have that text file with those keys and you don't go burn one of those to change it and roll it and re-add it into the password, you've lost access to that. You can't get it back.
Oh, snap.
And you can't even reset your password because it'll still have that 2-factor enabled. You literally have to contact. I've had to do this twice. Contact the company, send them an ID, hold them a sign that says like, "Hey, I am this guy. Here's my ID. I'm in this room. Here's a video on YouTube from my verified account of me." And then they finally were like, after 2 weeks, they're like, "Okay, we'll reset it for you." But it was a pain in the ass, and it should be like the more pain in the ass, the better.
I would prefer to go as far as like a YubiKey or even turn my whole phone into. I know that there's like apps and stuff you can do that'll turn your whole phone into essentially a YubiKey. You plug your phone into it, or it's nearby enough.
But if you wipe it, same thing. You lose that. You'll lose that private key. So, and there's no way to back it up. That's the thing. Like if there's a way to go into the app and say, "Oh, export this," other than just back up the whole phone to restore it. There's no way to just say, "Hey, go in their app. I would like you just to store these keys somewhere." Put them on your computer, or put them on your when you sync to your computer, just put them there. There's no way to do that. You just have to basically say back up the whole phone and restore the whole phone.
No, there's a way to transfer your accounts to a new device that has Google Authenticator. But
how do you do it?
It says it'll create a QR code. So in that sense, you'd take your new phone and then bleep, or I'm not going to go through the whole process, but I don't know if it'd email you a picture somewhere or if it's on the phone and it displays it.
See, and that wouldn't have helped me because my old phone was broken.
Yeah.
And I went to get the new phone and they said they restored my backup to it. When I got home, there was no backup. When I looked in the cloud, there was no backups. So I was like, shit. Like I was like stuck at that point. Like, but yeah, if I had the old phone and I knew about it in advance, just make sure if you get a new phone or you restore the phone, make goddamn sure the backup that you're restoring has those authentication keys. Because if that backup is from a time before you installed the authenticator app, you will be fucked. Like unless you have those recovery keys. So always store your recovery. That's what I do now, just because it's happened to me twice and it's getting annoying, is I print out like the list of like the 10 recovery keys they give you that you can basically just start over. You can use any of those keys to get in. Yeah, and I put those in my safe. They're printed in my safe, so I can pull those out if I need them.
That's smart.
Yep. Hey, Ninja. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He said, yo, dog, I heard you love 2FA, so we 2FA your 2FA so you can 2FA your 2FA.
That's right.
Daniel Frost, thank you for the $5 super chat. He said, Barn, holy crap, I got surprised last stream. You went on for 6 hours. That was epic and fun. Man, I've been doing some crazy long live streams. I need to stop doing that.
That's good.
It's too long.
Before we go, I sent a picture into the video ninja thing.
Oh, you did? Hold on here.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how to get at it.
Show up? Hold on here. Okay, wait.
I shared a file with the group. I don't know what that means or how you would
whatever I am, I'm downloading it, but the name looks a little sus.
Dude, it's like 3 kilobytes. You should be done by now.
Wait, that's weird. Hold on here.
It's a JPEG. That's
I downloaded it and it's only showing me the top like bit of the photo. The rest is blacked out. It like got corrupted or something.
It should be. It's like a white background.
It's a t-shirt. 7% downloaded. Hold on. It still says it's downloading it for some reason. Seriously? Oh, canceled. Let me see if I can download it again. Hold on. Here, send it again.
It's literally like 3 kilobytes.
It literally got stuck at 7%, and I only have the top of the image.
That's outrageous.
Here. Send it again. Okay, let's try this again. All right.
I think it said 0.3 megabytes, so it's 300 kilobytes. I'm sorry.
So when I download it, it says downloading 7%, and then it doesn't go any further, and then it pops up and says your download's complete. Would you like to open it? And when I open it, it's the top like quarter of the photo, and the rest is black. It won't download more than 7%. Okay,
how am I
something is broken here.
Yeah, how am I supposed to show this to you?
Put it in Twitch DM.
It's a picture.
You can.
I'll send it to you on Twitter.
Or Twitter, not Twitch. Sorry. Twitter.
Yeah, I knew what you would get there.
I always mix those two up, man.
Bam.
Yeah, I want to see this. Is this your new thing? Let's see. Let's go check out your artistic skills, my man.
This is the first time. I have others.
Yes.
I have
so much. Yes. Too. Do it.
I have other ideas too.
Yeah.
The e-beggar one, the hands coming out.
No. Please make that shirt. Like
I just set it up for a t-shirt at least. But I have another version of it that's the text and picture is outlined in black because you can't see it on a white t-shirt. I need to upload the picture I've been messing with to that's all outlined and stuff. So
no, I think that's fantastic, dude.
I think
simple
that's a good
graphics
one.
are big. Like people like simple, crisp graphics, and that's as simple and crisp as gets.
I'm gonna offer it on a pillow as well. I thought that'd be fun.
Do it. But
I think that'd be cool.
I'll get one of the shirts. Like if you get that, I'll literally wear it on stream. That's hilarious.
Right on. Trying to do some something on the side a little bit. Yeah.
And so since I know you got to get going, the last real quick thing is okay. First of all, Russia. I guess we're sending an astronaut to ISS on Soyuz.
Nice.
So even after Roscosmos was like, "Oh, we're shutting down the ISS and we hate you in America, you dirty dogs. We will kill you and we will never do our space programs together." Apparently, we're sending one of our astronauts back to the ISS on their damn Soyuz.
Look, the science people don't give shit. They're going to be cool and help each other and whatnot. The whole time Roscosmos leader was like slapping his gums. I know he got replaced by somebody, but when he was slapping his gums on Twitter and saying all this stupid shit, like he was going to leave all the American astronauts in orbit to like deorbit and like burn up, and they were going to bring their guys home. Like they were up there, the astronauts up there were like wearing like Ukraine colors and flying the Ukraine flag and shit in videos. So yeah, it's like there's definitely a big disconnect there. But no, apparently we are sending another person up. They're gonna actually go to Baikonur and they're gonna go to the Cosmodrome and get on a Soyuz and go up to ISS. So obviously our tensions aren't as bad as we thought in that department. Yeah,
because we thought we'd never work with them again. And the other thing, just real quick, is Starlink V2. Apparently Starlink V2 has like something going with T-Mobile. I didn't look at this one very closely, But it looks like their announcement is like with T-Mobile, they're going to have connection to Starlink through your phone for SMS messaging.
Really?
Well, yeah, I want to see, does anybody in chat know about this? Like, somebody give me the lowdown on this. So is this going to be like your cell phone is going to be able to like sync up to the Starlink network and like send a message through the Starlink satellite? Like, I don't know how the hell this works. I don't know how you would be able to have a transmitter powerful enough in a device to send a message. Maybe you can only receive messages. They're using ultra low wide cellular. Really?
Huh.
So this isn't
Graham
bullshit.
would know.
Yeah,
Graham
he
would
would.
know.
He's an expert in that field, literally.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, I give Starlink a lot of shit, but if they actually pull that off, that's pretty damn impressive.
Huh.
Yeah, bringing Starlink to mobile phones. Here it is. So let's see here. Elon Musk supposed to offer texting, image, and a little bit of video to areas where connectivity is an issue on T-Mobile phones. Wow. So, I mean, wait, like directly to the phone? You're not going to have to like hook a dish to it or anything or any accessory? Like the phone is going to have the capability to broadcast through the Starlink network? Or is it only going to be to receive? This is going to be one of those things where you have to go out through the cellular network or something and ask for it, and then it comes down to your phone through Starlink? Or is this like literally bi-directional shit? Direct to the phone? Wow. I had no idea. I mean, I know they're in low Earth orbit, but I had no idea line of sight transmission of a phone could go that far. That's impressive as shit if they can do it.
Yeah.
Just think about that, dude. You go camping up in the mountains and like send messages and pictures and shit from like out in Timbuktu. That would be cool. I'll admit, if Elon can pull that off, I will cut him slightly more slack. But I'm not going to do it until he actually pulls it off, because he loves to flap his gums about shit that never ends up being what he promises. So, but we'll see if he pulls that off and they can actually deploy. Now, keep in mind, they can only deploy the V2 satellites once they get, Starship well along, which they're way far away from. They don't even have a working deployment mechanism yet for these new satellites. Oh, and they're huge too. That's the other thing. The new Starlink satellites are massive. That's why they need Starship to deploy them, because they're not these 500-pound satellites like the current ones. These are big boys, which I'm sure is going to make the astronomy community really fucking happy when they have like half the old network failing to deorbit because they're not talking back, spinning around, and now we're deploying satellites that are even bigger in the same numbers. I don't know. At some point, people are going to get pissed off at Elon. They're going to pass some law saying he can't put any more satellites up there. It's going to fuck up all his plans. But until that point, if they can get enough satellites up there to communicate to the ground through cell phones, that would be game changer, dude. He could corner like a huge portion of the cellular market. Like if T-Mobile has access to this technology, like, and exclusively, and he doesn't give it to any other carriers, holy shit, man. Like T-Mobile just becomes the default carrier for everybody. It's nuts. Well, on that note, I think we covered all the topics, my friend.
Yeah, I think, that's a good one.
Yeah, we did. I want to thank a couple more people. James Can, thank you for the $2 super chat. He said, Jerry, I meant a Masters UWEE or Purdue ECE, same UW. I don't know if it's the same, actually. I have no idea if the programs are the same. I guess it depends on what you want to do. I mean, electrical engineering is probably not going to be the same as what was the other one? ECE. I forgot what he said. It was slightly different. I'd call them and ask them, like literally just call admissions and ask them what the difference is between the programs. They're going to know. Other people have asked. But to be honest, that's out of my bailiwick. I never went to college. Yorkshire Techie, thank you for the $6 super chat. He said, I up dudes. How was your week? What TV shows and games are you currently watching and playing? Well, you're obviously playing Spider-Man. Any recommendations? Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I've been watching She-Hulk. I like She-Hulk. Dude, I laughed a lot.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a bit. I think like the CG's a little whack and stuff, but like whatever. I'm having fun with it. I think
it's honestly better than I thought it would be. Like I thought the CG for like a show, like a TV show, was, because God, that's a lot of CG. Like a lot of the other shows that can get away with like live action scenes. This was like CG heavy.
It's really not.
Really?
Come on, man. No. I mean, look, good. It's not that hard. Like they've done this for like a decade now. Like
okay.
And I think it has more to do with Disney meddling than like Marvel just being lazy.
Sure.
Or their VFX people. I think it's Disney meddling, and so they just didn't have time enough. Because like you hear stories of them saying like, oh, they kept wanting us to make her smaller, and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Sandman was great too. I highly recommend watching Sandman. It's a shame that it's not getting a second season.
Wait, Sandman? I
Oh wait,
haven't
no,
heard of
no.
it.
I'm sorry. I take that back. I got that mixed up with hearing that Resident Evil is not getting a second season. I'm sorry. I don't know about Sandman. But Sandman was great. I never read the comics or anything, but it was freaking awesome. I
Wait,
thought it was
is
really
this like
cool.
on Disney and I haven't seen it? What's Sandman?
No, the Sandman is on Netflix and it follows Neil Gaiman's comics.
Oh, okay.
Of the,
Well, I'm
of
gonna
the
watch
same
that for
name.
sure.
Super cool. Very cool. I like the presentation of the world that they are building there, and it's super neat.
There's been some kind of like pretty good movies coming out lately. Like I watched
Yeah.
on Paramount Plus, or actually it might not be Paramount Plus, might just be Amazon Prime. But I watched a movie. It's Sylvester Stallone in a movie called Samaritan.
Oh, neat. Okay.
And it's actually a pretty good movie. It's like I don't know if there was a comic on this or something. Like I have know nothing about the comic, but I watched the movie and I was like, this is actually pretty good. It's like Sylvester Stallone plays like a fucking superhero that like disappears for like 20 years or whatever, and some kid like tracks him down. It's actually a pretty good movie. I like it.
It's a good distinction. Adrian Zwimmer is right. Yeah, DC Sandman, not the
villain. Not the guy from Spider-Man. Okay, see, that's what I was thinking when you said Sandman. I was thinking like the
Sandman
dude that,
as in Morpheus, the Lord of Dreams, and the king of dreams and stuff. Yeah, sorry.
I'm glad you caught that and said something because I'm thinking Sandman. How the fuck did I miss this?
That's why you were like, oh, what do you mean? Is that on Disney Plus? No. Do you ever struggle with time blindness? Yes, that's why I'm 15 minutes over the time that I should have left the stream.
Yeah, no, time blind. Is that like where you just lose track of time and you have like no idea what's going on? Yeah,
or
all the time. All the time.
difficult engaging how long tasks will take.
Put it this way: I've sat up here before.
Track of time.
I've sat up here before, and I went downstairs to eat dinner at like 9 o'clock, and it was 3 a.m. and everybody was sleeping.
Yeah,
so that's how bad I lost track of time. I lost like 6 hours, like legit, not even joking. So it does happen, depending on what I'm focusing on and what I'm doing. I completely become oblivious of the time that's passing.
Especially if it's something I'm really jazzed about.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. I think we hit all the super chats. Thank you guys so much for the support. We really do appreciate it. Let's get you out of here, broken leg. Go sit on the couch and do some healing. And we'll catch you next week.
Right on.
All right. Peace out, brother, man.
Bye.
All right. As for the rest of you guys, I will get the description updated. So if you want to go back and watch the whole VOD, I'll get all the links and everything in there. And if you have any questions, come over to Twitter. You guys know where to find us. AuxxZillary, Barnacules. Just throw an @ in front of it and you'll find us. And David couldn't join us today because he had to work on his house because like rats or mice or something ate a bunch of shit while he's on vacation. So he's doing repair duties. But the dude messages us every week and tells us like what's up and says he wants to be here and stuff. He absolutely loves hanging out. So he will come back. Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna come back.
What happens when you're buddies with the freaking celebrity?
Dude, when you're buddy,
like he's on big, massive freaking TV shows and stuff. So
you gotta let him spread his wings.
Things, you know. Yeah, man. You just roll with it. It's cool. It's cool, man.
All right, I'm gonna go watch. I'm gonna go watch Top Gun Maverick because Loyal Moses tipped me $20 last night, specifically contingent on me renting it through Amazon. Sick. So I'm gonna go watch it, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out. Laters. Okay, how do I gotta push the button. Where's the button at? I gotta find the button. Where's the button? It's around here somewhere. Where the fuck's the button?